What you doing?
Blue is cheap.
What you doing?
Dirt. Dirt.
Hey, there's a thought.
Dirt.
You could hire a dinosaur to put a swimming pool in your backyard. All you'd have to do is show up for 5 minutes, whop, instant swimming pool.
Paleoscience shape.
We come to this place for science. We come to paleontologizing streams to laugh, to cry, to show up late and then ask what today's topic is even though it's right there in the title. Because we need that. All of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the surf rock starts. And we learn something we've never known before. Not just entertained but somehow infotained. Together. Baffling images on a tiny computer screen. Sound that I can feel.
Dirter. A dirter is one of those things you get at the end of the paper towels, the cardboard thing in the middle, you go dir in it.
Genus names I can mispronounce. Somehow, extinction feels good in a place like this. Our common ancestors feel like the best part of us. And dinosaurs feel like they're still around. Because here, they are. Paleontologizing streams, we make fossils less dead.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Paleontologizing. It was so good to see all of you here. I wish I were feeling a little bit better, but I'm streaming anyway. Woke up with a bit of a sore throat this morning. Might be victim to that dreaded conference illness that afflicts so many of us. I think maybe it got me. But who knows? Maybe by tomorrow morning I'll be feeling 100% again. We'll see. But for the time being, we're streaming today. We've got some cool stuff to talk about. We've got 2 new dinosaur genera, which were published in the last few weeks while I was away at the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting. So we'll be talking about those. Neither of which has like an actual paper to look at. One of them is like a journal preprint from Cretaceous research. Actually, both of them might be like that. We'll see. But anyway, we're going to make the most of it, and should be pretty cool. A new ornithopod, or maybe basal ornithischian, and a new oviraptorosaur. The former from South America, the latter from Asia, Mongolia in particular. So that's going to be cool. Anyway, if it's your very first time here, then allow me to introduce myself real quick. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. So that means discussing new publications as they come out, talking about what's, the latest and greatest in the world of fossil science, answering your questions. Q&A is like a huge part of what we do here. During the summer, I'm out digging dinosaurs live and streaming it. So we'll probably see some clips from that at some point too today. I always like showing those off. And we'll see what else happens. We've got a fossil snake going on the 3D printer right now. I managed to get that going. So we'll be checking on its progress periodically throughout the stream. Probably looking at some videos and going over those new dinosaurs. So glad you're here, everybody. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Brabble Nova says, hello, I'm new here, and I'm also studying to become a paleontologist. Well, you were in the right place. Welcome to Paleontologizing. I'm glad you could make it. Let me know if you'd like any advice or anything, or if you've got any questions. And Dinosaur Dave...
50,000 a year has been well spent.
Thank you, Dinosaur Dave. 36 months.
How was SVP? Missed yesterday because work.
SVP was excellent.
I've seen content creators drop some videos with you in there. Here is my favorite.
I think we watched that one yesterday, Dinosaur Dave. That was the one with the, tell me something about Triceratops. It was that one, right? We watched that on stream. Yeah, I met, obviously, met Milo at SVP. It was good. Yeah. And thank you, Dinosaur Dave, for your continued support. Tier 3. I appreciate that tremendously. I hope work has been going well for you. Yeah. Let's see who else is here. Matt M33 and Kodali were, of course, first today, as they always seem to be. Appreciate you both. I hope you're both doing well. Golganek, what's shaking with you? Hello. Bunch, and Rachel Darling Endeavors. Dr. Irrefutable and Thing from Somewhere, good to see you. Tommy Ploticus and Sleppin Slid. Lord Noobs a lot. And Meli Ilanen, how are you doing? Eddie Scarin and Zote.
Steely Dan and Sir Steggles, thank you for the resub, Sir Steggles. I really appreciate that. Appreciate that prime. Bush Doctor, how are you doing? Hello, hello. Danish Viking and Bald Squirrel, Squiggles Dagabo, yes, indeed. More new dinosaurs today. We're gonna get to them. Mayfield Pemberley and Jaded Fairy, Tommy Plodicus and Barnacle Bum, Icy, the Icy Squirrel, and Samurai Pie. How are you doing? It's good to have you here. Samish Nom Nom and Deathsaurus. Paleontologist VA, hello, hello. Will62. And La Gordon, how are you doing? Hello, hello. SVPitis, yeah, Will62. Seems like it. Hello, Sweetie Pie. How are you doing? And let's see here. Mystic Blue. Hello, hello. Nice to see you as always, too. My English research paper I'm writing about Spinosaurus. Very nice. I work on Spinosaurids. There is some Spinosaurus news coming out. It was a very cool talk at SVP about this. And, goodness, we've got a full feline eclipse here, looks like. Choo-choo! Sweetie Pie. There we go. How are you doing, Sweetie Pie? Of course, she's pushing the camera around, as always. Cast Me All Black, hello, hello. Casey Snowart, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the raid yesterday, Casey. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Will62 and Latigo Smith. My Prime might be ready to use the own. Excellent, Latigo. I'd appreciate it if you've got it lined around. Yeah. Aw, Sweetie Pie. You having a good day? Yeah. Aw, she's happy I'm home. But yeah. And, Brabble Nova, how specific, was able to rival the Carcharodontosaurus. That's what we call niche partitioning, Brabble Nova. So, sometimes in a given environment you'll have animals of, they seem like they should be in competition with one another, but in doing different things in the ecosystem, they're able to kind of avoid competing and each kind of do a slightly different ecological job. Classic example in the modern is whoop. Dyson Dinosaur. Well, goodness. We've got a cat in the way. But Dyson Dinosaur, thank you for the raid. How are you doing? I'm not sure why our raid alerts are still not working. Holy cow. But I appreciate the raid, Dyson Dinosaur. I hope you had a good stream. Filippo, I appreciate you bringing your viewers here. Tell me about how things went. And again, I apologize that the raid alerts are not working. But this cat is certainly not malfunctioning. No, you are operating at 100%, Sweetie Pie. How was SVP? It was excellent. Holy cow. It's been way too long since I've been to SVP. It's really nice to be able to go. Here, I'll show you some of the... I had 2 posters that I was presenting. I was first author on. I'll find those photos. Alright. Here was the first one, right here. Looking at the pace of dinosaur discovery. Over the past decade. It was very, very well received. People loved it. So that was awesome to be able to talk about. And then my second poster had to do with my outreach here on Twitch. Just kind of, yeah, presenting this to the audience at SVP. Talking about how it is possible to make a living doing science outreach. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it is possible. And so I talked all about that. It was pretty great. Yeah. And yeah, there we go. Yeah, I saw that talk, Dyson Dinosaur. That was pretty wild. Very interesting stuff. It's funny, there's a lot of stuff I've suspected about Spinosaurs for a long time that were confirmed in that talk. So I was goodness, sweetie pie. It was cool to see, for sure. Yeah. But yeah. Anywho, good stuff. And Coasil, I've not gotten the Spinosaur paper submitted yet. Hopefully soon. I got a lot of other things on my plate right now, but yeah, that's top of my publication priorities right at the moment. So yeah. Oh, and interesting. That was the month that you weren't there in Niger. Okay, Dyson Niger. Okay. But it was cool. Clearly, they're gonna have like a National Geographic documentary about it, because Paul played some clips from that were very clearly, edited into like a documentary format. The pacing and the cuts and everything else. So, yeah, it's gonna be big once that drops. It's gonna be big, and you'll be featured there. Very nice. Excellent. That's great. Pigeon Being says, do your cats eat birds? No, they do not. They never go outside, which is good. Hello, Mini Pie. You come up here too? We might have two cats on the desk. And Dinosaur Dave says, did you see anything at SVP that means you need to change details in your Spinosaur paper? Maybe a tiny bit, but there are some things that I should probably add to it, potentially. I do have some differences of opinion. Yeah, and those issues will get raised in the paper. But, yeah. I don't know. SVP, like I said yesterday, we did a whole stream about it, so check out the VOD if you want to see that. But, SVP was excellent. Not only did I get to, present my own research here, and have some excellent conversations, I was able to meet with a bunch of other paleontologists for the first time. I've got some interviews lined up. Well, I will hopefully be able to get some interviews lined up for new dinosaur taxa as they get published, and then I'll be hopefully doing some other interviews, just kind of as a just because kind of thing. That should be a lot of fun, so I'm really looking forward to that. And it was really cool to catch up with old friends, people I haven't seen in years and years. Yeah, like Denver and Liz. Hadn't seen them since, I think, 2017. So it was great to be able to catch up with them, and man, have they got some exciting stuff coming up. Most of which I cannot tell you about right now, but trust me, there are exciting things in the works. Holy cow. Yeah. Anywho, yeah. And are you going next year? Oh, Dyson Dinosaur, you're going to Birmingham next year? Excellent. I'm going to try and go too. I'm excited about that. It's going to be nice. Yeah. Oh, hello, Mini Pie. All right, that's 2 of 3 cats so far. How are you doing, Minnie? And Arilo Rolo just followed. Did you accidentally unfollow? I know that happens sometimes. But yeah. And Deathsaurus says, you mentioned funding stuff through Twitch. Have you ever thought about reaching out to sponsors? I get emails from potential sponsors literally every single day. And I always just ignore them because it's not usually a product that I use or know anything about or can endorse. And I don't feel honest promoting anything like that. If I ever were to get any sort of interest from, a company whose products I actually use and could heartily endorse, then, yeah, I don't want to be a Krusty the Clown kind of figure, I don't want it to be a situation like Watch out, Mini Pie. Like this right here. Anywho, yeah. That's the sort of situation I'm trying to avoid here, you know? Yeah. Anywho. And Dasher Fernando, that's what I have to do with a lot of copyrighted content like that. You gotta flip the screen and then turn the audio off for the VOD so that I don't get copyright struck. You know, tools of the trade. Crimson Carnotaur says, this stream is sponsored by Rage. Yeah. They email me like every single day. And anyway. Eventually I'd like to be able to do some sort of a sponsorship thing, but I'm very choosy about that. And I think that's the right way to go about it, you know? So yeah. But yeah, that clock gets extremely hot. And tour of all your new decorations. Kuasil, we change the background out every day here. So it's always different. But I've got a life-size Allosaurus skull, 3D printed, Euplacephalus skull, Smilodon, an Iguanodon hand, a sculpt and print that I did of Trirarchuncus, or Alvarezsaur dinosaur that my team published in 2020, and then a Camptosaurus skull right there. And of course the SVP Minneapolis logo. I just got back from the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting the day before yesterday. Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. And there you go, Casey Snort. That's exactly what I have for that particular scene, is the audio in that scene doesn't go to the VOD. So, it can't get copyright struck on YouTube or anything. Yeah. And there you go, Petrodactylus. Yeah, I think that's the right approach. Yeah. And Deathsaurus, I already did an endorsement thing for Prehistoric Kingdom, and I did it for free. This was years ago. Here, I'll show you. I did a review. Okay.
If you love dinosaurs, if you like to learn about them, if you'd like to see them scientifically accurate and beautifully rendered in a wildlife park setting, then Prehistoric Kingdom is the game you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
But given that...
Anyway, yeah. Yeah, paid endorsement. That seems like something you can endorse without any issues. I guess, but I already kind of did endorse it for free, so why would they pay me for it, you know? I don't know. It'd be nice, sure. Yeah, that's something that I could, you know, heartily endorse. Yeah.
I heartily endorse this event or product.
I'd be happy doing that. At the end of one of their trailers or something. Whatever, yeah. An anonymous gifter, thank you for that gift sub there. You are as generous as you are mysterious. I don't know why the alert isn't playing for that. There's something up with my alerts. Yeah, what's up with Stream Elements right now? Stream Elephants all got their trunks tied in a knot or something. Raid alert. Settings. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. some hiccups for whatever reason. But yeah. Turn it off and turn it on again? I don't know if you can do that with Stream Elements. Yeah. Oh, and Dyson Dinosaur, Paleontologizing at Gmail is a great way to reach me. Or you could just send me a whisper here on Twitch, too. That also works. But yeah. Anyway, thank you again for the raid. I really appreciate it. We are gonna talk about some new dinosaurs here in a little bit. But first off, I think there's a... Well, first off, I'm going to give Mini Pie here some treats, aren't I, Mini? Yeah, let's get that done. You want some treats? I know you do. I don't know why I'm even asking. Whoop. Be careful about that tonight. Not knocking our Allosaur skull over. There you go, Minnie. Come here. There you go. Dig in. Oh, good stuff. And she is a handsome cat, isn't she there? Yeah, good luck with your paper dinosaur. Thank you again for the raid. I'll see you around. Take care. And yeah, gotta feed the landlord, Squiggles. Yes, indeed. There we go. I realized that PBS Eons had a video recently on Appalachian dinosaurs, I believe. And I think we'll go ahead and take a look at that in a minute. Yeah. What do you think, Mini Pie? That sound good? Yeah. And Helsters, yeah, we've got 3 cats that live here. They together are my landlords, and all 3 of them are black cats with varying degrees of white spots and stuff like that. But yeah, they're pretty cool. Anywho, let's take a look at this video that just came out recently. They always do good stuff. We'll kind of start the stream off with that, and then we'll jump into our new dinosaur taxa pretty soon once some more people get here.
Located in the core of the Big Apple, the American Museum of Natural History is home to some of the world's most iconic dinosaurs.
I assume this is about
and while it would
Appalachian
be easy to
dinosaurs.
assume that the dinosaurs on display there were found nearby, giving us the image
No,
of
they
a
weren't.
T-Rex stalking through prehistoric Times Square, the vast majority of them actually traveled a long way to get there. Most were shipped in from the American West.
Oh,
This
yeah.
doesn't mean that there's no fossil evidence for dinosaurs along the East Coast, though. In fact, the first dinosaurs ever found in North America were from New Jersey, like Hadrosaurus folki, described in 1858. And
Yep.
other rocks from the East may contain the geologically oldest evidence for dinosaurs in North America, period. But these discoveries have been overshadowed by those from the West. So where are all the East Coast dinosaurs? Why don't we find famous species like Triceratops in Central Park? Turns out evolution and geology came together to make the East Coast into an ancient lost world of weird dinosaurs.
Yes, indeed. So we're going to get into Laurasia, excuse me, not Laurasia. It is Laurasia, but Laramidia and Appalachia here. So we've talked about this a lot. Oh, wrong website. There we go. Let's go to about 90 million years ago. As the continents shift around and do their thing. This is what Earth looked like about 90 million years ago, give or take. Sea levels were very high at the time, and so this inland sea covered the middle of North America. So all of these plains states here, these central states, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, and then parts of Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, these areas throughout here too, just inundated by this shallow, warm, almost kind of tropical sea here. Because of that, Western North America and Eastern North America became separate subcontinents for a while. So, in the east, you have what we today call Appalachia, and in the west, Laramidia. Almost all of the dinosaurs that are famous from this time are from Laramidia. It's everything from Parasaurolophus to T-Rex, from Chasmosaurus to Triceratops, and all those guys in between. They are all from Laramidia. Very few dinosaurs have been found in Appalachia, to the point where if a single tooth is found in a locality, that might be news. That might be worthy of a new paper. The dinosaurs are few and far between over here, but as a result, that means that they are precious. And I bet you the video is going to get into that. So, yeah, Larry Media. There you go, Bush Doctor. Yeah. But yeah, take a look. Oh, and DM Wing. Yeah, those dinosaurs probably weren't actually buried in Central Park. We'll go over that, I think, in May on the anniversary of when when Waterhouse Hawkins sculptures were destroyed. But a lot of details from the like popular retelling from that are false, it seems. So we'll be I think we can go over that this year. That should be interesting.
When dinosaurs first got their start during the Middle Triassic period, maybe as early as 245 million years ago, North America was connected to the other continents as part of Pangaea. And while some of the earliest undisputed evidence for dinosaurs comes from what's now South America, the fact that the continents were linked meant that they could just walk from there to basically any other continent.
That's one of the reasons why we have dinosaurs on all 7 continents is dinosaurs first evolved, all of the continents were stuck together. That's why we even have dinosaurs in Antarctica. Continents start to split apart. Pangaea breaks up during the age of the dinosaurs until we get, let's see, 66 million years ago. The continents are starting to kind of achieve their placement today. India is still an island, still has yet to crash into Asia. Europe is still kind of an archipelago of islands. South America and North America obviously hadn't joined yet. They wouldn't until the Great American Biotic Interchange during the Cenozoic. But anyway, yeah.
Back then, North America sat just above the equator, with the east coast still dominated by the Appalachian Mountains. And while we don't find many body fossils of early dinosaurs in this region around this time, the rocks of what they call the Newark supergroup of the late Triassic and early Jurassic do...
Hey, there's a thought. You could hire a dinosaur to put a swimming pool in your backyard. All they'd have to do is show up for 5 minutes, whop, instant swimming pool.
Farning, thank you for the 13 months of support. I really appreciate you. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Preserve fossil footprints. These footprints show that the East Coast already had some dinosaur diversity during these early periods of the Mesozoic era. The majority of these trace fossils are from 3-toed, small-bodied carnivorous dinosaurs that were up to 3 meters long.
Oh, and Bush Doctor says I need to get the ancient timelines figured out mentally. There's some good resources for that online. On the more technical side, you've got International Chronostratigraphic Chart at stratigraphy.org. This is all interactive. I always go to linear time. It actually gives you a better sense for what you're looking at here. But yeah. And it goes way back before the origins of life on Earth and the Precambrian, too, the Hadean. But yeah, good stuff. And then, let's, there we go. I guess you can buy this on Amazon? That's interesting. USGS. Let's take a look at that. There we go. This is some good stuff. Thank you, Internet Archive, for archiving it. Beautiful. You can find higher res versions of this too. This is just a kind of a nice way to visualize the history of life on Earth. We can find a higher res version than that though. There we go. Much better. Yeah. So from the formation of the Earth 4.5 billion years ago, up until the present, right there, the Holocene epoch, we've got cities and people and surf and Waikiki. Yeah, it's this is a pretty neat visual representation of that. I'll give you a link right here. This is from the U.S. Geological Survey. They put this together. I'd love to do like an updated version of this because this one is pretty out of date. You look at the dinosaurs on here, and they are certainly behind the times. It would be neat to do a more current geological time spiral. One of these days, I'd like to sit down and get that done, you know? But yeah. Yeah. Anyhow. And Deathsaurus says, you know what I think would be really useful? A site that'll teach us how to pronounce all the dinosaurs and other prehistoric animal names properly. Wikipedia does a pretty good job of this. There. Let's look at... Alright, that one doesn't have it. But some of them actually have pronunciation notes. These are all newer articles, so I don't think they'll have them. But let's try... Some of them actually have like a little thing you can click on that shows you, it reads them to you. It'll pronounce it for you. There we go. Yeah. Coelophysis. The interesting thing with this is that there's often different pronunciations that are accepted as long as your fellow scientists know who you're talking about. Doesn't really matter that much how you say it. It's not like there's an official pronunciation for coelophysis. Some people say coelophysis. Yeah, coelophysis traditionally. Coelophysis or coelophysis as heard more commonly in recent decades. You know, tomato potato. There's a lot of different ways to pronounce it. I remember back when I was in high school working at Berkeley, Pat Holroyd used to tell me that, you know, in the U.S., we would pronounce this creature Australopithecus. The French pronounce it Australopithecus. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much how you pronounce it, as long as everyone knows what you're talking about. You know, you're not going to get yelled at if you have an unconventional mode of pronunciation. That's fine, you know? Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, pronunciation is subjective, sloppy salamander, absolutely. Yeah. More to do with not knowing how to pronounce it in the first place? Yeah, with a lot of these things, you sound it out and you just get better at it as you go, you know? Like with coelophysis, for instance. It's funny in that, if you hear people who are not really familiar with this animal say its name, if they don't really know much about dinosaurs, they might say Coelophysis, but this is seal. This means hollow right here. It's, I don't know if it's Latin or Greek, but that root word means hollow. It's the same root word as in coelacanth, or like procoelous vertebra. You'll see those same Latin or Greek roots pop up again and again and again, and you'll learn them, and that way when you see a completely unfamiliar name, you've got a general sense for how to pronounce it just because you know how to pronounce those different roots, you know? Does that make sense? And Giganotosaurus versus Giganotosaurus. There you go, Crimson Carnotaurus, yeah. I'd say Giganotosaurus. People know what I'm talking about. But I remember a couple summers ago talking with Ethan Cowgill about this. And he was recalling a conversation he had with Luis Chiappe of the museum in Los Angeles. And Luis pronounces it apparently Giganotosaurus. And yeah, yeah, there was a dinosaur named just this year, Diuchine, I call it. Matt Lamana is one of the authors on this paper, and he's like, yeah, we published this dinosaur. I don't know how to pronounce its name. It means bird of prey in an indigenous language. In Mapudungun, which I'm probably even pronouncing that language name incorrectly. But yeah, as long as people know what you're talking about, it doesn't really matter. You know, these words are all made up anyway. But yeah. Yeah. And Serratic, yeah, there you go, Dinosaur Dave. And sometimes it can get confusing. Yeah, Stegosaurus versus Stegosaurus. Or Stegosaurus, as opposed to Stegosaurus. Anyway, pronunciation. There could be a neat little, like, video there, I suppose. If I were to sit down and write out a script, but... yeah. Anyway, as long as people know what you're talking about, it doesn't really matter that much how you say it. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, let's get back to that video here. See how long it takes us to get through this.
Triassic and early Jurassic do preserve fossil footprints. These footprints show that the East Coast already had some dinosaur diversity during these early periods of the Mesozoic.
And Seaborn Show, hello, hello. I'm sorry our raid alerts are not working today, but welcome to Paleontologizing. It is good to have you here. Welcome, welcome. I hope you had an excellent stream. Tell me about it a little bit, if you wouldn't mind. And we are going to go over some new dinosaurs in just a little bit. We've got 2 new dinosaur genera and species that were just described recently, or I guess the preprints are out, so they've been announced, but maybe not officially published yet. Anyway, we're going to get into those in a little bit, but first we're watching a little video from PBS Eons and talking about Laramidian versus Appalachian dinosaurs. So yeah, anyway, I hope you had a wonderful stream. It's good to have you here. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Yeah. There we go. And play.
Era. The majority of these trace fossils are from 3-toed, small-bodied carnivorous dinosaurs that were up to 3 meters long. These dinosaurs probably looked like a common early dinosaur from the American West,
Coelophysis, yeah.
Coelophysis, New Mexico represent. Other footprints indicate that a bigger carnivore, maybe 3 to 4 meters long, was also present. These are thought to have been made by an animal like Dilophosaurus.
By the way, if you like Dilophosaurus or closely related animal named Liliensternus from Europe, I think it's okay to say this. At SVP, there was a really interesting talk about a theropod very similar to Liliensternus that's just much, much larger from the Triassic. This animal is larger than Dilophosaurus. It's larger than any other Triassic carnivorous dinosaur. It's like an Allosaurus-sized, whatever this critter is, Ceratosaurian theropod. Really, really exciting. Yeah, it's from Germany. It shows that it didn't actually take very long for theropod dinosaurs to get big after they first evolved. You had huge ones already in the Triassic. And that is super exciting. And I can't wait until it gets published. It should be pretty soon, I hope. Although it did seem like there were a few more things they still had to figure out there. Yeah. Pigeon Being says, how do you remember all these different dinosaur names? You know, they're like old friends, you know? I've known about Liliensternus since, I don't know, probably when I was in middle school. Yeah, maybe 5th grade. and you just see them in the literature, you see them in books, you talk about them with colleagues. It's the more recent ones that I have difficulty remembering. Yeah. So like all of these dinosaurs that were just published this year, I have real difficulty remembering their names because I haven't known them for as long, you know? They're like new acquaintances. Like, oh, shoot, I'm sorry. I know you just told me, but what was your name again? It's that kind of a thing, you know? But yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. And Dinosaur Dave says, I'm better at remembering dinosaur names than people's names. I am too. Because, you know, when you're naming a new genus or species, it's gotta have a unique name. Whereas with people, you know, not every person has a unique name. Especially when it comes to first names. So yeah. Anywho. Yeah. Yeah. And that totally makes sense. I'm glad, Deathsaurus. I'm glad. And somebody said that about sport. Oh, Salamander says it's like a lot of sports fans being able to remember the names of their favorite players, or a music fan remembering the names of their favorite artist songs. There you go. Same deal. Yeah. So yeah, anyhow. Be on the lookout for a new giant Triassic theropod that should be published before too long, I hope. It's going to be pretty cool.
A combination of footprints, along with some fossil evidence, also shows early relatives of the giant sauropods, like the still small-bodied 6-meter-long Ankylosaurus. And other tracks show small-bodied ornithischian dinosaurs were living there too, ancestors of the great herbivores like Triceratops and Ankylosaurus.
Hey, Jordals, how are you doing?
Now, while these footprints tell us that dinosaurs were here, it's pretty hard to know exactly what they looked like and who they were related to. And as the Triassic gave way to the Jurassic around 200 million years ago, North America began to separate from Africa and Europe, forming the Atlantic Ocean and isolating the dinosaurs. During this period, fossil evidence on the East Coast remains pretty much the same: footprints. These early Jurassic footprints...
Oh, and this reminds me, both Salamander and Nanerta have expressed enthusiasm for ankylosaurs. There was a really, really cool talk by Michael Habib at SVP about ankylosaurs, these walking tanks.
Dinosaurs came in all shapes and sizes.
Holy cow!
Dinosaurs are put together correctly.
My goodness, we're gonna get a ton of alerts right here. Kit Boga, welcome to Paleontologizing. It is wonderful to have you here. Shoot, let me find my my source here for the alert box, and turn that off. But welcome, everybody. Holy cow!
Much larger mysteries still remain.
Let's just go to this. Hello, everyone. And Kit Boga, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. Kit Boga, I hope you had a wonderful stream. I hope you were able to really ruin some scammers' day. I really appreciate you coming in here. Holy cow.
Had not died, I imagine the mammals would still be small creatures.
And I'm not sure where those sounds are coming through, because I'm supposed to have the alerts turned off here. There we go. Well, hello. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, so I dig up dinosaurs, I study dinosaurs, I talk about dinosaurs here on Twitch. I'm here to bring fossil science to you. So if you have any questions at all about the history of life on Earth, about the fossil record, about evolution, extinction, natural selection, or the very philosophy of science itself, or more specifically, if you've got questions about dinosaurs, because dinosaurs are my wheelhouse. They're what I actually study and publish on in the scientific literature. Then you're in the right place. Ask some questions, please. We might wait for things to settle down a little bit first, but I really appreciate all of those follows, too. I can't even keep up. But since we've got a bunch of awesome new people here, I figure I should call forth a good friend of ours, somebody we like to call Previously Recorded Danny. And so without further ado, he's actually sneaking up behind me right now. We're going to turn things over to him, and he'll tell you about who I am, what a paleontologist is doing here on Twitch, all that good stuff. So without further ado, here comes Previously Recorded Danny. Go ahead and take it away. Thanks, present day Danny. You know, people ask me all the time, Danny, how did you first get interested in paleontology? And I've always been interested in fossils, from
earliest time I can remember, particularly dinosaurs. My parents like to say that I decided I wanted to become a paleontologist pretty much the moment I realized I couldn't grow up to be a dinosaur. And believe me, I tried.
I was born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is a lovely place to grow up. Except that we haven't got any dinosaur fossils here. So right after high school, I packed up and moved to Montana, one of the best places in the world to find dinosaurs. Just a couple days after I arrived in Montana, I started working at the lab at Museum of the Rockies and the paleontology program founded by Jack Horner. Jack's done a lot of amazing things in his career, but you may know him as the scientific advisor on the movie Jurassic Park.
You consulted on that movie.
I did consult on all those movies.
And they said that the guy, Alan Grant, was you.
Yes. Yeah, well, fortunately, he didn't get eaten.
But we wanted a credible resource that could back up several theories that we were sort of expounding. And one was that dinosaurs eventually evolved into birds.
And even the word raptor means bird of prey.
And that's something that Jack Horner believes in and could defend if necessary. And Jack Horner became our credibility.
It was in this program that Jack built that I learned how to be a dinosaur paleontologist and how to think outside the box. I've done work at a number of other museums around the American West, helping to prep fossils, design exhibits, and educate visitors. I did a fair bit of eclectic fieldwork in various places, identifying and collecting early Cretaceous dinosaur tracks on the Idaho border, Sphenodontian fossils in the gravelly range of the Rocky Mountains, Cenozoic fishes in western Nevada, but most of my work out in the field was with Dr. Denver Fowler, who is now curator of the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. In all, I've worked probably a few hundred sites throughout the late Cretaceous of Montana, and the Hell Creek and Judith River formations, digging up dinosaurs. Lots and lots and lots of dinosaurs. And from time to time, that work has even garnered some media attention.
Montana's news leader.
5 paleontologists are excavating what looks to likely be a new species of armored dinosaur.
We found its head, we found parts of its armor and plates, and so it should be a new species.
And much like my fieldwork, my research focuses on dinosaurs.
I'm particularly interested in their behavioral functional morphology. All these bizarre anatomical features that certain dinosaurs had, I want to know what they used them for. Right now, I'm working on a study on spinosaurs.
All right, but don't ask me too much about that because it's still a project in the works and I can't give away too much just yet till it's published.
But anyway, a couple years ago I realized that things were definitely headed downhill in Montana. So I packed up and headed back to the West Coast.
And I've become kind of fed up with all the bullshit in academia, so I found myself another job.
I am now a teacher in early childhood education. And let me tell you, it's been a natural fit since day one. Now, given that I get to design the curriculum, my students now know more about biology, classification, and the history of life on Earth than most adults do. I've been helping raise a new generation of young scientists. Then, coronavirus hit. In mid-March, when all the schools shut down in San Francisco, I started holding classes over Zoom, and we picked up right where we left off. 1, 2, 3. I love digging in the dirt with just a pick and brush. Finding fossils is my aim, and so I'm never in a rush because the treasures that I see are rare and ancient things, like Velociraptor's jumps or Archaeopteryx's wings, and all the kids who wanna see them lining up at our museum. I am a paleontologist. That's who I am. That's who I am. That's who I am. I am a paleontologist. That's who I am, that's who I am, that's who I am. That's who I am, that's who I am, that's who I am. That's who I am, that's who I am, that's who I am.
I realized that I really enjoy teaching remotely. So back in May, I decided to try streaming on Twitch. And here we are.
This is my passion, and now I get to share it with you. And what could be cooler than that?
I believe that scientists ought to be public servants. Ultimately, it's our job not just to make scientific discoveries, but to teach the public about them. That's exactly what I want to do here. Now, because of COVID-19, this will be my first summer in almost 10 years with no fieldwork. I'm trying to look on the bright side, though. It's not all bad. At least I have more time for outreach, and I've got plenty of cool stuff to work on. And if you could throw some support my way by subscribing, I'd be incredibly grateful.
So anyway, if you are new here, you should be pretty well clued in by now. And I'm glad you're here. I hope you're having a good time. Anyway, let's see what present-day Danny has cooked up for us. All right, present-day Danny, back to you.
Thank you very much, previously recorded Danny. And of course, thank you even more to Kit Boga for that tremendous... That is the biggest rate I've ever gotten. I want you to know how much I appreciate that. And if anybody who was watching beforehand is not yet following Kit Boga, he does this wonderful thing where live on stream, he will mess with like telephone scammers and try and waste their time and eventually like get their operation shut down. So he's definitely fighting for truth and justice on this platform, and I'm honored that he would raid in here. So welcome everybody. I should point out that video previously recorded Danny there, he's a little bit behind the times. Said something about not doing any field work. I've done a tremendous amount of field work over the past couple years and streamed almost all of it. Leap Year Girl, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Anyway, here's
Tradoon. Yeah, let me give you an extra special welcome. Welcome to Paleontologizing.
Extra special welcome just for you,
introduce
everybody.
myself too. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist.
Look,
you
you don't
probably
have
know
time to
already
put
that a
dinosaurs in your
paleontologist is a
dinosaur
fossil
movie.
scientist, meaning a scientist who studies fossils.
You can turn the alerts off on this too. Shoot.
In particular, in fact, most of us in the quarry.
Thank you for the follows.
That's what we do. We study dinosaurs. Paleontology is the study of fossils in general. Most paleontologists don't work on dinosaurs, but we are here in eastern Utah, near the town of Moab, doing just that. Digging up dinosaurs for further study. We think we've got potentially a brand new species of iguanodont dinosaur.
And it is a new species. Holy cow. Just this weekend, I got back from the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting, our big global meeting that we have every year, for paleontologists who study animals with bones, dinosaurs among them. It's in Minneapolis this year. My stream yesterday was kind of a recap of SVP and going over all the new discoveries and everything being presented, and that was one of them. Friend and colleague Karen Poole was presenting on our new iguanodont that we had been digging up. So I'll show you some photos from that presentation. There we go. Here's Karen right here. And there is her talk, a new iguanodontian dinosaur from the Cedar Mountain Formation. And then there's a picture of me in her presentation. And yeah, she even acknowledged me at the end, which was pretty cool. Anyway, Karen's awesome and really excited for this new dinosaur to come out. So far, it seems to be most similar to like Camptosaurus, which is a beaky plant-eating dinosaur from the end of the Jurassic period. Something happened to these dinosaurs at the end of the Jurassic. A bunch of different dinosaur groups go extinct in North America, but it seems like Camptosaurus might survive, and its descendants go on into the Cretaceous period, and that's what we think we have there at that quarry. We've got hundreds of bones of this animal now from at least 6 different individuals, probably more. I think we've got 6 left femurs at this point, so we know we've got at least 6 individual dinosaurs. But yeah, they're gonna look something like this, but maybe just a little bit more derived, advanced. More like Iguanodon than just like this. Kind of almost in between Camptosaurus and something like Iguanodon. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Hopefully it'll be published in the next couple of years. These things take a long time. And there you go, salamander, yes. And Kevin Finch says, oh, that's cool. So they're like unexpected survivors we never knew existed? Basically, yeah. Yeah. So for a long time, and holy cow, randomness, thank you for the 5 gift subs. I really appreciate that. Holy moly. Thank you, thank you. And Squiggle Mew, thank you for the follow. Rexatron, appreciate you. Fantastic. In the Morrison Formation, the late Jurassic of North America, you've got one of your classic dinosaur faunas. You've got Stegosaurus and Allosaurus right here. Big meat-eating theropod dinosaur. You've got some of your most famous sauropods, Diplodocus and Apatosaurus, aka Brontosaurus, Camarasaurus, and Ceratosaurus. They're all doing their thing in the Morrison Formation. Thank you, Mark Melbourne, for the 5 gift subs. I really appreciate that. That's the end of the Jurassic period. And then, the Jurassic period ends, and these guys disappear. Almost all of them, except for, like, Camptosaurus and the Ankylosaurs, they disappear from the rock record. And they're replaced by other kinds of dinosaurs that seem to have migrated over from Europe at the time. They walked across a land bridge into North America. For a long time, it had been kind of assumed that this was a gradual turnover, that we were missing a few million years of rock, and that this transition would have been a long and slow one, not like a sudden, abrupt, catastrophic extinction event. But now that we've got a better handle on the rocks, and we found rocks that are from the very, very beginning of the Cretaceous, it seems like this turnover is really fast. It seems like something bad happened at the end of the Jurassic and the beginning of the Cretaceous. Something bad happened and just caused the extinction of some of these dinosaur groups. It was abrupt. It was some sort of catastrophe, maybe. Jim Kirkland, my our crew chief in the field in Utah. There we go.
This particular valley here.
This is a video that Claire Burr put together for us.
I know you're fond of saying that you could have, what, 100 crews out here every summer for 1,000 years. What's the limit?
I mean, this site just keeps going and going.
Yeah.
So this is Jim Kirkland, the state paleontologist for the whole state of Utah. And he's like head of the whole paleontology program for the state. Jim has been able to figure out, like, shoot, we've got these rocks that demonstrate that this turnover event was really, really quick. We had a catastrophe happen here. Now we're trying to figure that out. And this is the quarry that we're digging those new iguanodont dinosaurs out of. These are the oldest Cretaceous dinosaurs in North America. They are just above the Morrison Formation. They're about 142 million years old, we think. And so these are going to be maybe one of the keys for understanding what happened here that caused these different dinosaur groups to go extinct, that caused this turnover like that.
And we're just starting to get below.
Yeah, and Jim Kirkland did find Utah Raptor. Yes, indeed, Prehistoric Plaza. Yes. He found and named Utah Raptor.
We've got root maps coating all our bones here. It's like, we're not into really pristine stuff.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, Jim Hyperbole Kirkland? I never say anything like that.
There's Uncle Don there. Don DeBlue, the assistant state paleontologist in the state of Utah.
Huge area here, and as we dig, also there'll be nothing.
For 1,000 years, or 1,000 crews for 100 years.
So at the rate we're going, 5,000 years.
So this is a clip from one of our streams this past summer.
A couple weeks here, but it's not going away. And it's always, I've published stuff with John Foster on managing mega sites.
Sure.
Because a lot of sites, you find a dinosaur, you dig it up, and the site's gone. You dug it.
Miko the Ghost, thank you for the 5 gift subs. I really appreciate that. Holy cow.
This is a site like big archaeologic sites like Chaco and things. This site is always going to be here. And
almost inexhaustible.
Researchers are going to be wanting to approach with new techniques.
Yeah.
And things like, this is way bigger.
Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, so that's me. I dig up dinosaurs, and I study them, and I publish on them. Oscar Juniors, thank you for gifting a sub to Prehistoric Plaza. Rat Hermit and you mad though, son? Thank you for the follows. I appreciate those. Sorry I had to turn the alerts off. There's just so many new follows and everything. Man, do I appreciate that. Let's check on our 3D printer here before we forget. I'm printing a snake fossil. Looks like it's going...
A dinosaur?
Uh-oh. What happened here? Shoot, that's not right.
TV off.
You're not doing so badly yourself for a paleontologist.
What are dinosaurs?
This is Laura Dern at Jurassic
This is
Park.
why I turned the alerts off. Anyway,
frustrating work.
I was afraid this would happen with the print. It needs more supports. It was leaning, and now it's just... it's all warped. Yeah, 3D printing can be a barrel of problems sometimes. I was afraid that was going to happen. We'll have to start again. But anyway. Yeah. It happens. It happens. But, I've got a ton of different fossil prints that I've done over the years for outreach purposes. So, here's just a smattering of them. We've got an iguanodon hand, smilodon skull, it's a saber-toothed cat, a euplacephalus skull, big armored dinosaur, Allosaurus, Camptosaurus right here, like I was talking about. So, yeah. Yeah, anywho. Coslier, rather, says... No, Cozy. That's an I, not an L. Says, favorite dinosaur. I've got a number of favorite dinosaurs, and, one of them is right here. This little guy, Triararchuncus, is very near and dear to my heart. It would have looked a lot like this in life. This is a close relative, Mononychus. This is one of my favorites because my team named it and published it. My former roommate discovered one of the key elements that allowed us to name this animal. We think these guys ate insects, and they used their super stubby but extremely strong arms with that one big claw in each hand. They used those for maybe tearing open rotting logs, stuff like that. Basically digging into places where they could find insects to eat. And this guy right here, Triararchuncus, is one of the very last dinosaurs. Lived at the very end of the Cretaceous period, 66 million years ago, and would have been one of those dinosaurs that got wiped out by that big asteroid when that hit the Earth and caused that extinction event. But yeah, pretty cool. This is about 1/3 life size here, but I sculpted this live on air, and then we 3D printed it. It's one of my favorite critters. I can show you the paper for it. Triararchuncus. Yeah, here it is on good old Wikipedia. And then... take a look at that. Who's that jabroni? And the author list for that paper. That's me. There I am right there. So this is one of my favorites. I'm also very fond of Triceratops because I've dug up a ton of those over my life so far. And they're extraordinarily informative. We've got so many specimens of Triceratops that we can essentially watch them evolve over time. It's pretty awesome. You can't do this with, like, any other dinosaur. But we've got enough Triceratops specimens, and we know exactly where they come from in the rock record, that we can watch the nasal horn evolve to get bigger over time, over the course of maybe about 1 or 2 million years. That kind of slow, gradualistic change is not something that we can normally see in dinosaurs because we just don't have enough data points. We don't have enough specimens. We might have, if we're lucky, 1 or 2 semi-complete skeletons of a dinosaur, of any given dinosaur genus or species. For Triceratops, we've got hundreds. And so we can start to see those smooth, gradual changes over time. It's incredibly cool stuff. So So yeah, this is what I'm interested in as a paleontologist, you know. Randomness says what program to use to sculpt. Here, I can give you a link. There we go. Sculptress is the program that I use right now, but I'm trying to teach myself Blender over the next couple months. So hopefully I can be switching to that. Sculptress is no longer supported. So yeah. And Addicted to Captain Game says, is it true that Sinoceratops is the only true horned dinosaur to have been found in Asia? How much is known about it? Sinoceratops, I think, is the only ceratopsid, only undisputed ceratopsid known from Asia. It's from China, as the name would imply. The name means Chinese horned face, Sinoceratops. And this bugs me that you've got all these depictions of it with like a giant hole in its frill. They didn't have this. This is some Jurassic World nonsense. In life, that frill would have been covered with skin and keratin. So it would have looked a lot more like this. That's a much better depiction of it. But yeah, during the late Cretaceous, when this animal lived, there was a land bridge that formed between North America and Asia. Here we go. Here's our own Earth about 90 million years ago. Sea levels were a lot higher then. North America was split in two by the Western Interior Seaway. But you could walk from North America, where the horned dinosaurs first evolved, you could walk across into Asia. And it seems like that's what the ancestors of Sinoceratops did. We will eventually find other horned dinosaurs, other ceratopsids, in Asia, I think, but we just haven't yet. It's just a matter of time until we find more of them. But there are so many different ceratopsids that have been discovered recently. It's pretty incredible, really. But here is just a sampling of the different kinds of horned dinosaurs that have been discovered over the past, well, some of these have been discovered a long time ago. Triceratops was back in the 1880s. But many of these are fairly new. Critters like Cosmoceratops, Diabloceratops, Spiclipius, and Stellosaurus, and Albertoceratops, and critters like that. Such an amazing array of different horn and frill shapes. It makes a lot more sense when you realize that a lot of these guys, they're parts of like an evolutionary continuum. They didn't all live at the same time. These are members of different lineages that are evolving and changing, and when you sample different rock layers, you'll find different horned dinosaurs. And so one of the big things that's going on right now is putting all of these guys in their proper stratigraphic context. Figuring out exactly, sometimes it's just a matter of remembering where exactly they came from in the rock layers, so that you can make a chart, and you line them all up and you go, oh, that makes sense. This guy evolved into that guy. Then you might have a split in the lineage right here. That's going to be the story for ceratopsid dinosaurs for the next couple decades, is figuring out their evolution, where everybody fits in, and just seeing this, like, the rise of this dynasty of horned dinosaurs. And, yeah. It's exciting stuff. This wouldn't have been possible a couple decades ago. We didn't have enough specimens, and didn't have enough people studying them. But nowadays, it's really cool what's possible. The Rat Hermit says, are there lots of fossils under the seas or oceans that we will never see? There are, yeah, but not as many as you might imagine. One of the reasons is that the rocks at the bottom of the ocean tend not to be very old. The continental crust, the continents, can have very, very old rocks indeed. But seafloor rocks are constantly being cycled, almost like a conveyor belt. So you get mid-oceanic ridges like this, where magma comes up, and then you can get islands that form there in the middle of the ocean because of this. But then you get the ocean plates. New crust is formed like that as it comes up, and then it goes out to the sides. And then when it reaches the continental crust, since the oceanic crust is heavier, it gets pushed underneath continental crust and then melted again. Like this. There's a, really, really nice demonstration of this. So, stuff comes up from the asthenosphere through these spreading ridges, and then you get that oceanic crust, and it's always being pushed out to the side ever so slowly, about the same speed that, like, your fingernails grow. And it gets pushed underneath the continental crust, and then it sinks back down into the asthenosphere and it melts. And the heat that results from that melting pushes up mountains along the coastline on the continental crust. That's why here in California, we've got this coastal range of mountains. Because, of course, I am broadcasting to you from the beautiful and sunny San Francisco Bay Area. These hills and mountains that you see under me right here, they're part of that. As that oceanic crust is being pushed underneath the continental crust, it melts, and that causes the mountains to rise. And in some places, they're rising faster than they're eroding away, so you actually get like a net rise over time. It's pretty cool stuff. Determined Daft says, are the patterns estimations? When we're talking about like continental crust moving, we actually measure this stuff. So there are geologists who, that's their job, is they track this. Very, very precise instrumentation is able to actually measure the rate of continental drift. Certain continents and plates are moving faster than others, and there's all kinds of cool, like, complicated details there, but it's neat stuff. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, and Quick Cat, I'm sorry, did I say heavier? I meant lighter. No, the oceanic crust is lighter than continental crust. And so as a result, it's easier to push around and it just gets shunted underneath. Sorry. Good point. Thanks for keeping me on my toes there. And Addicted to Capping Game says, this might be a dumb question, but have any specimens been found in or near volcanic areas? Specimens of what? If we're talking dinosaurs, the answer is generally not. So fossils are found in sedimentary rocks, for the most part. Sedimentary rocks are laid down by sediment. Let's see if I can find you a clip here. This should do it, I think. Here, take a look.
A close encounter is a rare and thrilling event.
The thing that allows Tyrannosaurus to be preserved in this part of the world is the fact that...
There's Phil Curry. I saw him at the meeting this weekend.
On a coastal lowland, and there was a tremendous amount of sediment coming in from the mountains that were rising to the west at that time.
So what Phil Curry is talking about right here is at the end of the Cretaceous period, and about here, in Western North America, Western US, and Western Canada over here. This is where dinosaurs like T-Rex and Triceratops were walking around right before the asteroid hit. And you've got the Rocky Mountains to the west of them that are being pushed up. And as those mountains are being pushed up by tectonic forces, they're also being eroded by wind and rain and freeze-thaw and stuff like that. And sediment is sloughing off from them. It's going down these mountain streams and it's filling up these basins below. You know, all of that rock being pushed up, as it gets weathered away, it creates sediment that can go bury stuff down in the lowlands. So that's what Phil's talking about there.
The fact that they were living on a coastal lowland, and there was a tremendous amount of sediment coming in from the mountains that were rising to the west at that time.
Yeah.
So there were large rivers running across the coastal lowland, and if the Tyrannosaurus body happened to fall in the water, then it had a very good chance of being buried complete. And fast burial is one of the most critical factors in terms of preserving an animal that large. So far,
I hope this makes sense.
Skeletons of Tyrannosaurus have been found, all of them from Wyoming north into Alberta and Saskatchewan.
It's closer to 50 now. 50 T-Rex skeletons. Yeah.
Now, Tyrannosaurus probably had a much more extensive range than that. It almost certainly lived all the way from the Arctic Ocean down to the Gulf of Mexico.
Only 17 skeletons have been unearthed of the many millions of animals that once lived and died.
It's closer to 50 now. Maybe even 60 or 70 T-Rex skeletons. I've helped excavate one really important Tyrannosaurus specimen so far. When I was working with Denver Fowler and Museum of the Rockies. MOR, what is it? 60... 55? That's not right. There we go. Here's a picture of a 3D printed reconstruction of the skull here. The smallest T-Rex skull in the world. The youngest T-Rex ever found. Probably between 1 and 2 years old. The skull is about this big. Like that. And we've got much of the lower jaw. We've got some bits of the upper jaw. We've got some teeth. We've got a few other skull bones, but this is a reconstruction based on a very similar, very closely related dinosaur called Tarbosaurus. So since we don't have the whole skull there, we can use this critter to kind of fill in the blanks. This is a baby Tarbosaurus from Mongolia. Very close relative of T-Rex. In fact, some Tyrannosaur workers think that T-Rex evolved from Tarbosaurus. So this might be the ancestor of T-Rex. The jury is still out on that, whether or not T-Rex evolved from ancestors in North America or in Asia. That's a matter of contention right now. That's being actively debated in the field. But yeah. I hope that makes sense. And Demon Prince says, how well can you estimate the population of different species? I guess the frequency of findings is only correlated to population, but is also influenced by a lot of other stuff. It is influenced by a lot of other stuff. I like that you're asking this while we're talking about T-Rex, because some of my friends and colleagues actually published on that recently. And Axeman, thank you for gifting Suave Oreo. I appreciate that. Ashley Bog, thank you for the follow. I still have the alerts turned off. I hope that's okay. We're just getting a lot of alerts right now, and I don't want to get too distracted. Let's see. Here we go. Here's a press release from UC Berkeley News. If we're trying to estimate how many, members of a particular dinosaur species ever existed, it's tricky. There's a lot of different things that can influence those numbers, can influence our estimates. But yeah, by analyzing what's known about the dinosaur, paleontologists conclude there were 2.5 billion T-Rex over the 2.4 million year existence of the species. It's a little bit easier to do T-Rex than some other dinosaurs, but for a number of reasons. One of them is we've got a lot of specimens of T-Rex. We've got over 50 at this point, probably. Around 50, I'll say. Most dinosaurs that have been named are known from one specimen, and it's usually very incomplete. With T-Rex, we've got a bunch. Another thing that sets T-Rex apart is that it lived at the very end of the age of dinosaurs, so it didn't evolve into another species. These guys got wiped out by that asteroid, and so there's a There is a definite, clear end to their reign. They left no descendants. If you're talking about other dinosaurs that lived earlier in the Mesozoic, well, at some point they might evolve into another species, and so where do you draw the line? If you're trying to estimate how many members of that species have ever lived, like, well, at some point they're transitioning into another species, and so it gets really, there's gonna be all kinds of gray areas. It's really tricky. But you don't have that issue with T-Rex because they were done in by the asteroid. They lived at the very, very tail end of the dinosaurs. During 180 million years of the dinosaurs' reign, T-Rex is at the very, very, very end, like the last 2 million years. Does that make sense? Anyhow, I'll give you a link to this, but it's interesting stuff. Yeah. And 2.5 billion is such an incredible number. I think it's an underestimate, Salamander, because you're talking about over 2 million years of time here. They don't really specify it in the paper, but I think they mean adult T-Rex. These animals probably would have been having babies about once a year or so, I would guess. And there'd be a ton of little babies running around until they get eaten by other things. Most dinosaurs, well, all dinosaurs, are born very small. All dinosaurs hatched from eggs. And so they have to start off small. You can't make an egg very big. Like, there's a certain point where, you know, it just gets too large where it's not structurally sound anymore, and it would crack. Or if you make the shell thicker so it doesn't crack, then the embryo can't breathe. So, like, there's a physical limit for how big an egg can be. And dinosaurs kind of reached that limit. And so that's it's almost a restriction on, like, how big dinosaurs could be because they all have to hatch out of eggs smaller than this. Even the very, very largest dinosaurs, critters like the titanosaurs, like Patagotitan here, even these guys hatched out of eggs no bigger than this. So they would have started out about the size of like a toy poodle. Wild, right? And then they grew to be larger than a blue whale over the course of their lives. Pretty darn cool. And they did grow immensely fast, absolutely. Yeah. And have there been any juvenile specimens still found in their egg clutches? Absolutely, yeah. For lots of different groups of dinosaurs. Oviraptorosaurs seem to be found in egg clutches fairly frequently. We know these dinosaurs cared for their eggs, probably cared for their young after hatching too. And we will sometimes find embryos inside. So there's a model of a baby Oviraptorosaur, and then above it you have the actual fossil egg with the fossil embryo inside. We've got this for a bunch of different dinosaur groups at this point. We have egg clutches, and we have embryos preserved inside the eggs. But yeah. Airbomb says, my favorite dinosaur was always Triceratops. It's one of my favorites too. Like I was saying earlier, we know more about Triceratops than most other dinosaurs because we have so many specimens. And what's the speed of their growth? Meters per day? You know what? There's an excellent video about this that I was we just discovered yesterday. Here, let's take a look at this. And then, oh, here. Yeah. Megalosaurus jaw there. Got that same one here. I used to work at Museum of the Rockies before Ashley came along.
Hi everyone, welcome to the EL Weekend Digital Learning Studio here at Museum of the Rockies.
So, Ashley was kind enough to bring me on to a science outreach panel over the weekend at the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting. Let me find you a photo of that here. That would have been... Let's see. There we go. There's me, there's Ashley, and here's some other science communicators at the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting. Yeah. So, anyway, I didn't know that she was doing such cool work here through Museum of the Rockies on YouTube, so this is neat. This is going to talk all about Tyrannosaurus growth and why it's so important. This gets into a subject, a scientific concept that's called ontogeny. As dinosaurs are growing and maturing, they're changing in dramatic ways.
Ontogeny.
Throughout their individual lifetimes. So Triceratops, from the time that it's a baby to an adult, the horns are changing shape, they're changing orientation.
Ontogeny.
The frill is changing shape. The little epiossifications, the little bone spikes around the edge of the frill, they get flatter
Ontogeny.
and they fuse onto the edge of the frill. So yeah, this is ontogeny.
Ontogeny.
It's important stuff. Yes, indeed.
My name's Ashley Hall, and I'm your host of Fossil Friday and the Outreach Program Manager here at the museum. Now today, we're gonna be doing a whole Fossil Friday dedicated to Tyrannosaurs, one of the most awesome groups of dinosaurs and one of our favorites here at Museum of the Rockies because we have the biggest collection of Tyrannosaurus Rex fossils in the world.
That's right, MOR beats everybody when it comes to T-Rex specimens. Truly impressive. Museum of the Rockies might have the largest dinosaur collection in all of North America. Yeah, it's a cool place. One of these specimens I helped collect. It's the one that she has right here. So under the leadership of Denver Fowler, I helped dig up some bits of that in 2013 and 2014. It's a really important specimen.
Join me as we dive right in, or should I say bite right in, to our Fossil Friday today, all about Tyrannosaurus Rex growth. Let's go.
And I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get into this video. There's so many questions here. This is great. Crowscape says, do you collaborate with other scientists or other paleontologists from other countries? I do, yeah. Just in the last couple years, we had paleontologists from Canada, from Egypt, from Morocco, on our cruise in Wyoming and Utah. I've worked with paleontologists from the UK, from Argentina, from Germany. Oliver Wings is from Germany, from Japan, from France, from Tahiti. Yeah, there's a bunch of other countries too. There's a lot of international collaboration in the world of vertebrate paleontology for sure. We're really lucky here in North America because we've got a ton of dinosaur fossils. There are more dinosaurs that have been named from North America than any other continent. A big part of that is that we've got more paleontologists here than any other continent does. But another big thing is that the Western United States has got a lot of factors going for it that make it an ideal place to find dinosaur fossils in particular. Here, I've got a clip that kind of talks about this, and I hope it makes sense. Here.
Looking out the window, Marsh was transfixed. While his fellow passengers saw magnificent landscapes.
This is during the Wild West days, and paleontologist Othniel Charles Marsh is heading out on the railroad going west after the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad.
Saw much more. Schooled in geology, he knew that great troves of prehistoric fossils could be buried in the ancient rocks.
And Dagodairos, great name. There's the command for you right there.
I felt that entombed in the sandy clays, he recalled, there must be hidden the remains of many strange animals new to science.
The western U.S.
long waiting to be brought to light.
Wyoming, Utah, North and South Dakota, Montana, Colorado.
To establish his reputation while working on the greatest scientific problem of the age.
This is back in the
revolutionary work on the origin.
This is back in the 1870s when the idea of evolution was kind of new and hot in the scientific world.
Of species had been published in
Crazy
England
Carla, we'll
only
get to that
years
question.
Earlier.
Hang on.
But Darwin despaired that little physical evidence of evolution could be found in Europe, where the heavily forested land concealed the geology underneath.
Yeah, it's tough to find fossils in Europe in a lot of places. There's so much vegetation. You don't have a lot of beautiful exposed rock to look for fossils in, you know?
The arid, open American West, Marsh was convinced, would yield the kind of fossil evidence needed to prove Darwin's theory.
The American West is blessed by a couple of things. Number one, a long history of mountains going up. And when mountains go up, next to the foothills of mountains are a depression, a basin. And as soon as mountains go up, they start getting eroded by streams. The streams bring down sand and mud that fills up that basin at the bottom of the foothills.
Yep. And that buries stuff.
That's a wonderful place to die and leave a good-looking corpse.
So back in the Mesozoic, during the age of dinosaurs, those mountains were coming up, sloughing off sediment. The sediment goes down to the basins, and it buries the critters that are living and dying down there. Basin and range, there you go, Quake Cat, yeah.
But wait, there's another element. It's dry.
Yeah, nowadays, this area is really dry.
It's really dry. It's drier than the Alps or the Urals. It's drier than the Caucasus.
Yep.
So when you could take the railroad to Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico, and you walk around, you can see the rocks, naked rocks. And
Not
the
a lot
rocks
of
are full
vegetation on them, because it's so dry.
fossils, including bones.
Yep.
Marsh.
So that's why Western North America is such a hot spot for finding fossils like this. There are places in Europe like that too. You know, you get areas in Spain and Portugal where you get this same kind of topography, what we call badlands. And it's almost like a little secret that we've kept as paleontologists. You know, everyone calls these badlands, these are the best lands for finding fossils. Just exposed rock right there on the surface. I think a lot of folks get the impression that we as paleontologists, when we try to find a fossil, what we do is we just dig a pit in a random place. Or maybe we use some piece of magical technology or something. Ground penetrating radar or something like that. That's not how it works. In reality, what we do is called prospecting. And what that involves is a pair of sturdy boots and a pair of eyeballs, and you just walk along the ground and you look for any bits of fossil bone that start to erode out of the hillside, the side of a gully, a valley floor, whatever. We're looking for where erosion is exposing those fossils. If you just dug a pit in a random place, you'd never find anything. And ground penetrating radar doesn't work to find fossils. It just doesn't. Gotta use the old Mark I eyeball. And so that's why we go to super dry areas like this, because there's very little vegetation. There's lots of exposed rock. There's lots of opportunity to find stuff eroding out. So Spain and Portugal have got some lovely areas like this. Gobi Desert of Mongolia in China has got some incredible exposed rock. The Flaming Cliffs, Ukatolgod, sites like that in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia. Yeah, likewise in South America. The deserts of Patagonia and Argentina and Chile. Just so much beautiful, tasty, exposed bedrock out there. Oh man. That's why so many dinosaurs have come out of Argentina. It's because there's so much territory out there. There are other places in the world where you've got this kind of landscape. The Arabian Peninsula has got some incredible badlands too. A lot of this is not the right age or the right type of rock to find dinosaurs in, but some of it is. And one day there will be dinosaurs found on the Arabian Peninsula. It hasn't happened yet, to my knowledge. Maybe there's been a scrap here or there reported in some obscure journal or something, but there's no dinosaurs named from the Arabian Peninsula. Someday I think there will be. Yeah. There are still places in this world that are unexplored in terms of dinosaur fossils. and I would want to be part of a team out there looking for the first time, you know? So yeah. And yeah, absolutely visit the Jurassic Coast, Wixarts. Yes, that's an awesome, awesome place. Yeah. Desher Fernandez says, do you think there are lots of undiscovered fossils? The vast majority of fossils are still undiscovered. Without a doubt. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And yeah, not a lot of dinosaur fossils in Denmark. You are correct, randomness. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. Anyway, let's get back to that video with Ashley here and take a look at that. There we go.
Today, we're going to be talking to you about the Tyrannosaurus growth series on display at Museum of the Rockies. These beautiful fossils are on display in the Hall of Horns and Teeth exhibit.
Ooh, there's two dinosaurs that I dug up in the shot. Chomperex, I found a few elements of that critter, 2013 and 2014, and the Yoshi's Trike site, Triceratops specimen. I dug up part of that in 2011. It's one of the first dinosaurs I ever dug up during my first field season. That was pretty awesome. Anyway, that's great.
The smallest skull on the left is called Chomper and represents
Oh, yeah.
the very young juvenile life stage of a T-Rex, which is between 1 and 2 years old. The second skull is a replica of the dinosaur commonly known as Jane. Jane is considered the most complete teenage Tyrannosaurus rex ever found. The real fossil's on display at the Burpee Museum of Natural History in Illinois. The third skull is nicknamed B-Rex, and studies have shown that it is a mature, subadult female T-Rex that is between 16 and 20 years old. The final skull is known as Montana's T-Rex, formerly known as Pex Rex, and it was a fully mature adult T-Rex between 22 to 30 years old. So what are tyrannosaurs? Tyrannosaurs are a fairly diverse group of theropod dinosaurs characterized by their large heads, strong jaws, large and massive knife-like teeth, short arms with 2 fingers on each hand, and robust bodies. They lived from 86.3 million years ago to 66 million years ago, and there are now approximately 20 tyrannosaurid genera or groups known from this clade.
So, yeah, a lot of you are new here, and so genus and species might be kind of a new concept for you. Let me talk about that real quick. Yeah. So a lot of you have probably heard this before, like kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. This is how we classify living things as scientists. A genus is a group of closely related species, or maybe just sometimes one species per genus. But so for Tyrannosaurus rex, like for Panthera tigris, the tiger, the genus Panthera or Tyrannosaurus is like, you know, that's the first name. You always capitalize that one. The species name tells you what species it is. So Panthera tigris, the genus is Panthera, tigris is the species. You had Panthera, was it Panthera atrox back in the Ice Age? A member of the same genus but a different species. Velociraptor is a good example too. Velociraptor mongoliensis. Velociraptor is the genus, Mongoliensis is the species. There's other species of Velociraptor too, like Velociraptor osmolskae. That's still within the genus Velociraptor. Homo sapiens, we as human beings, are, you know, classic example too. The genus is Homo, sapiens is the species, but there was also Homo neanderthalis, Homo floresiensis, the famous hobbits, that Indonesian island of Flores. Stuff like that. All the other species are extinct now, so there's only one species in our genus now. Only one species still surviving. Homo sapiens. But you can abbreviate that too. So, Panthera tigris would be P. tigris. Homo sapiens would be H. sapiens. Velociraptor mongoliensis, V. mongoliensis. Tyrannosaurus rex becomes T. rex when you abbreviate it. That's the only one that's one of the very few species that's, you know, known by an abbreviation to the general public. There's a few others out there. The one that I can think of off the top of my head is E. coli. That's Escherichia coli, or E. coli for short. So when you say T-Rex, you're talking genus and species there, you know? A lot of you probably didn't realize that, but yeah. It's neat to think about. Yeah. But yeah. And prehistoric plaza, there are people out looking for dinosaurs in Kazakhstan, also in Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan especially. Yeah, that is a new hotspot for finding dinosaur fossils for sure. Yeah. Have you ever heard of Mr. Stanislav Gobishevsky? I can't say I have. Prolevem Tut. I wonder if he worked on invertebrates, or maybe vertebrates other than dinosaurs. Because I can't say I'm familiar with the name. No. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And Plane Shifter Inn says, isn't Rex the only species within that genus, though? Oh, you capitalized it. Species names are always lowercase. Yeah. And it's not anymore. No. There's been a new one just named recently. Tyrannosaurus macraensis. Yeah. There we go. Just published this year. It might be the ancestor of T-Rex. Yeah, there we go. The discovery of Tyrannosaurus macraensis, a sister species of the famous Tyrannosaurus rex, suggests that Tyrannosaurid dinosaurs originated in Laramidia, an island continent that existed between 100 to 66 million years ago. Laramidia, of course, is, here. Laramidia is this one right here. Western North America during this time period. You have this seaway that cuts across, divides North America in two, Laramidia in the west, Appalachia in the east. That's our names for these kind of temporary subcontinents. Although all continents are temporary. When you study geology, you learn the history of the Earth, you learn that everything's temporary. But yeah. Anyhow. And Freaky Feline says, that's Pangea? No, this is Laramidia and Appalachia. So, we go back in time a little bit, and you can see how things change. 120 million years ago, 150, 170. You see the continents coming together. 200 million years ago. 220, 240 million years ago. This is Pangea. When all the continents were together like this. One massive supercontinent. One kind of global landmass. Well, half global, I guess. Pangea, meaning all Earth over here. Panthalassa, meaning all ocean over here. Pretty cool, right? So this is around the time that the first dinosaurs evolved, when all the continents were stuck together like this. And then they spread out across the globe as the continents start to move apart. Dinosaurs are kind of taken along for the ride until the extinction event when that asteroid hit the Gulf of Mexico 66 million years ago and wiped out all of the dinosaurs. All of the dinosaurs except for whom? Chat? Chat, tell me, whom were the dinosaurs who survived? Anyway, if you said birds, you were correct. Birds are living dinosaurs. It's no longer in dispute. That is the general scientific consensus. There. Find you a clip. should be... Here, that should work.
Rapidly growing baby dinosaurs couldn't walk at first.
There's my old boss, Jack Horner.
Parents were bringing food back to them in the nest, like birds. His discoveries lent support to a then controversial but now widely accepted theory that dinosaurs actually gave rise to modern birds.
Yep.
If a little kid today studies all this in school, and they look up in the sky and see a bird and turn to mom and say, you know, that's a dinosaur.
They're right.
They're right.
They're right.
Jack Horner told us that birds are dinosaurs. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
What's he going to say?
Jack Horner told us that birds are dinosaurs. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Sean Carroll is a professor of molecular biology and genetics at the University of Wisconsin.
So really, dinosaurs never went extinct.
Dinosaurs never went extinct, but we all
Not
think
completely.
they did.
There was an asteroid event that took out a lot of life on Earth, including T-Rex and all the most famous dinosaurs. But this other group, what we call birds, made it through. And of course, there's thousands of species of birds still around today.
Yep. How many species of birds are around today?
Over 9,000!
It's probably like 10 or 11 or maybe 12,000 species of birds.
Dinosaur-bird connection is largely settled now, but that hasn't stopped Horner from using unusual means to make unusual discoveries. And he's found the perfect partner in his protege, Mary Schweitzer, a professor at North Carolina State University who studies the internal makeup of ancient bone.
Anyway, this is a really, really cool video. We should, I'll give you the link to it right here. But yeah. That's all about Museum of the Rockies, where I used to work. That's the same museum as we were looking at here. This video with Ashley Hall. This same museum. Anyway, cool stuff. This idea that birds are living dinosaurs is something that we're going to be covering a lot this month because Thanksgiving is coming up. And we're going to be talking all about the dinosaur bird link. This is an infographic that I put together a couple years ago. I wanted this to be printable so that you could take it to your Thanksgiving dinner or whatever other sumptuous pagan ritual feast you good people take part in. If there's any kind of celebration in which you dissect and consume a bird carcass, whether it's a turkey for Thanksgiving, or a budgie for Boxing Day, or a penguin for, I don't know, Arbor Day or whatever. I don't eat birds, so I don't know how this works. But anyway, you can use this as a guide. As you're opening up that carcass and dividing it up, pay close attention to those bones. All of the unique characteristics that set birds apart today from other animals. From their S-shaped neck, to their enlarged delta pectoral crest on their humerus, to their wishbone, to their hinge-like ankle joint, to their feathers. Today, birds are the only creatures that have those things. And every single one of those is just an evolutionary hand-me-down from their dinosaur ancestors. Hollow bones, bird hips, wishbones, and feathers all evolved first in dinosaurs, like Velociraptor here. So that's what this is all about. It's free to download and share it with your friends and family. I was really pleased that this was actually well, it got some media attention. Harmless Jacks, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Here we go. News Talk Radio in Ireland actually picked this up. And they did an interview with me back in, what was this, 2021. It was for Christmas in Ireland, because they don't really do Thanksgiving, so people, I guess, eat a Christmas turkey? Pretty sure that's the same species that we have here in North America. Meleagris gallopavo is the American turkey. But yeah, you can listen to that here. This is pretty neat. Pat Kenny is a really well-respected commentator in Ireland. And
The Pat Kenny Show on News Talk.
With Matter Private Network. During current restrictions, don't ignore your health concerns.
This is during
our expert team is ready to
during
help.
like the height of COVID.
The excitement is building, Santa letters are written, presents are wrapped, and soon kitchens around the country will be busy preparing a Christmas feast of roast ham, honey-glazed carrots, roast potatoes, and dinosaur. Yes, I did say dinosaur.
Yep.
And did you know that nearly all of the features of today's birds, everything from their specialized lungs to their characteristic feathers, are actually just evolutionary hand-me-downs from their theropod dinosaur ancestors?
It's true.
To explain these interesting facts, as you sit down for your Christmas dinner, I'm joined by Danny Andusa, an American paleontologist whose research focuses on dinosaur anatomy, evolution, and behavior. Danny, good morning and welcome.
Good morning to you too, Pat. Thanks for having me on.
Now, I'm fascinated that what we put on our Christmas table could actually be pretty directly related to the dinosaurs. Please explain.
We've recognized for a while now there's a general consensus among paleontologists and ornithologists.
Now, they told me that there would be like a Zoom interview for this, so I had, I dressed up and I had like a background all set up and everything.
I'm a paleontologist.
Oh, goodness.
This drawer contains
turn the alerts off again.
Almost all.
It's acting up. Anywho, yeah, and then it ended up then it moved to just like an online phone call, and then they said, no, we'll just call you up on the telephone. Like, okay, shoot, the call quality is going to be terrible, and it kind of was. Anywho, you got the link to it now, so yeah, it's good stuff. I had to turn that into a YouTube video at some point. Yeah. And Addicted to Capping Games says, speaking of birds, can you tell us about Archaeopteryx, please? You bet. There was actually a really exciting talk about Archaeopteryx at SVP this weekend. Yeah, Archaeopteryx is one of the most famous fossils ever found. To the point where there's a clothing brand that actually uses the animal as its logo, Arcteryx. It's extremely expensive. I was looking into this at one point, and there was a jacket. I'm like, oh, that's a nice rain jacket. I looked at the price tag, and it was like $900 US. Holy cow. But that logo is taken from this, the Berlin specimen of Archaeopteryx. Archaeopteryx is heralded as a now found missing link between dinosaurs and their avian bird descendants. Like birds, they've of course got feathers and wings and a beak. But like their non-avian dinosaur ancestors, they've got claws on their hands. They've got a long bony tail, and they've got teeth in their jaws. It's essentially just like a modified little troodontid dinosaur that happened to have had beautiful feathers discovered on it, like this, back in the 1800s. And speaking of this specimen, I've got a 3D print of it right here. The Berlin specimen of Archaeopteryx. There's 13 specimens known, I think, nowadays. Really, really cool critter. Extraordinarily important, because this came about at a time when that idea of evolution was still brand new. Charles Darwin, old Chucky D, had just recently published On the Origin of Species in 1859. And I think it was in 1861 that Archaeopteryx was named. And it was a clear transition between so-called reptiles and birds. And it showed that birds evolved from an earlier reptile ancestor. It took us a while to figure out that reptile ancestor was a dinosaur. But nowadays, hindsight being 2020, that's super, super clear. But yeah, really, really important critter, Archaeopteryx. And yeah, there was a really interesting talk about this animal at the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting this weekend. Jingmei O'Connor gave a talk about their new Archaeopteryx specimen in Chicago. All of the Archaeopteryx specimens come from the Solnhofen quarry in Bavaria, Germany. Here we go. Take a look at this.
2 years ago, the Field Museum acquired a small fossil, and this morning the media got a preview of it. The Field Museum calling it one of the most important fossils ever discovered.
Yeah.
The Field Museum is becoming one of the few places on Earth to see one of these fossils. It's called Archaeopteryx, with feathers, hollow bones, clawed wings, 50 tiny teeth, and a long bony tail. It's one of the earliest known dinosaurs that also qualifies as a bird. This morning, the Field Museum unveiling the fossil to the media, saying that while small,
that's the wrong one.
Huge punch, since it's simultaneous.
That's a pterosaur. The news is showing the wrong fossil. This is a stupid, stupid mistake. But that's pterodactylus right there. They're showing the wrong fossil.
Saying that while small, it packs a huge punch, since it's simultaneously a dinosaur and the earliest bird known to science, helping provide proof of Darwin's theory of evolution.
There's the fossil
This is
there.
without a doubt one of the
So there's Jingmei O'Connor there, who I met at SVP. She's super cool, and the museum purchased this fossil because I guess it had been in private hands for decades. Someone at the museum heard about it. They knew it would be scientifically important. They went into arrangements to get money from some private donors, I think, so they could purchase the thing. And at the same time, they had a new job opening. And it sounds like they kind of headhunted Jingmei here, because she studies the transition from dinosaurs to birds. She studies Mesozoic birds. She's kind of an expert in this whole area. And so they hired her with the express purpose of studying this fossil that they were going to bring into their collections. So she, when I met Jingmei at the SVP after party a couple days ago, I said, like, hey, congratulations on the Archaeopteryx. And she said, I'm one lucky gal. She didn't say gal. But, yeah, she was very self-deprecating about it. But, man, she's the right person for the job. I'm so glad that all of this worked together, you know?
The best specimens of this important species that has ever been found. And it is such an honor to have it here at the Field Museum and to be able to study this incredible specimen with my lab.
The fossil was unearthed by quarry workers in 1990 and has been in the hands of private collectors ever since. A coalition of supporters helped the Field Museum procure it. When it arrived 2 years
Gorgeous.
ago,
Look at those
most of
teeth.
the skeleton was obscured by a top layer of rock. The Field Museum says this is...
Yeah, so they're showing the wrong one again. They're showing a pterodactylus, but that is the specimen right there. So when they purchased this, they didn't know it was going to look like that. It was only parts of the arms that were exposed. And they were clearly Archaeopteryx arms, but they really rolled the dice here. They didn't know if there was more of the animal in there. And then they removed more of the rock, and bam, there it is, practically the whole thing. And it's got the best preserved skull of any Archaeopteryx ever found.
Supporters helped the Field Museum procure it. When it arrived 2 years ago, most of the skeleton was obscured by a top layer of rock. The Field Museum says this is the most important fossil acquisition since Sue the T-Rex, drawing out the governor, Chicago's mayor,
Thank you, Miggity Marty,
and the
for the
Cook County
14
Board
months.
president.
I appreciate
I
that.
am immensely proud of the Chicago Archaeopteryx, which helps solidify this city and state as a global center for paleontology.
The fossil will go on public display tomorrow, but it will be removed in June temporarily as the Field Museum prepares for its permanent display in the fall.
Watch
Watch breaking news on...
Yeah, anyway, good stuff. And I think there might be a new video with Jingmei here. Let's take a look at that real quick. Oh, by the way, here's a link to this one in the chat for you. Try to always share those links. There you go. And yeah, there you go. 1714. JB Pritzker, yeah. Certainly not the worst thing there. Kudos to him. Here's Jingmei here.
My name is Jingmei O'Connor, and I'm the Associate Curator of Fossil Reptiles here at the Field Museum.
Jingmei's great.
So the study of living birds is ornithology. So I am a paleoornithologist. I don't usually use that term. I just usually say I'm a vertebrate paleontologist. But my speciality of research is the early evolution of birds. So birds that live in the Mesozoic, which is about 252 to 66 million years ago. I'm from California, Southern California. I grew up in Pasadena, home of the Rose Bowl. And yeah, I went to Occidental College, just randomly based on the financial package they gave me. But I'm actually really glad I went there because I had no inkling that I would ever be a paleontologist. I had no interest in paleontology until I went there and I met a paleontologist working there named Don Prothero. He was just such a great teacher that he sparked my interest in evolution. I was already a geology major because my mom's also a geologist. We actually did our PhDs at the same place, 12, 13 years apart, actually. And yeah, so I was following my mom's footsteps to be a geologist, but didn't really know what area of geology I wanted to pursue. I hadn't really found my passion yet. And I was just kind of, I'm going to be a geologist like my mom because my mom's the coolest person ever kind of thing. And yeah, and then I took this class called Historical Geology, which basically goes from the Big Bang to modern day. It takes you from how the universe forms, galaxies, solar systems, planets, all right, then they focus on Earth and it takes you right up to modern day. So part of that is the appearance of life on our planet and how it's changed, in the past 1.8 billion years at least, right? And I just got hooked on the concept of evolution. And if you are going to study evolution as a geologist, you do that as a paleontologist. You do that by studying fossils. It's not the only way to study evolution, of course, but you can be a biologist who's messing around with fruit flies, but I much prefer the paleontology route. But yeah, that's a little unique. Most paleontologists have known that this is what they want to do since they were yay high or since they saw Jurassic Park or whatever. But it's really 99% of them is one of the two. And I'm not there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, so if I hadn't gone to Oxy, I wouldn't have discovered paleo and I wouldn't be here. So I'm very, very grateful for that financial decision that I made.
I'm not going to play this whole thing. We hopefully we'll be able to interview Jingmei O'Connor here at some point.
And this is a dinosaur too.
And truly ex-Roman, thank you for the follow.
You need to salute the paleontologists.
Science Streams, how are you doing? Hello, hello. Yeah. And man, we've got all of these notifications backed up there, all these alerts. Oh, sweetie pie.
Every bone that we find tells us something about how the world was 80 million years ago, which is
Certainly.
I'm doing great, Science Streams. Well, actually feeling a little bit under the weather. I've got a bit of a sore throat. I may have picked up science conference illness a little bit. So I'm fighting through it. But things are great. We got a huge raid from Kit Boga earlier. Can we get another shout out for Kit Boga? That was phenomenal. 5,000 people came in. And so we've been doing some science outreach ever since. Yeah. And Shoop says science flu? Yeah.
How the world was 80 million years ago, which is pretty neat.
This past weekend, I attended the 84th annual meeting of the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology in Minneapolis. This is our big global conference for our science. And goodness, I'm way back here. Sweetie Pie, you're right in front of the camera. Yeah, it was pretty excellent. being able to catch up on the latest science, see what's coming out, get lots of potential interviewees for this channel, and present my own research too. So I had 2 different posters at SVP this year. This is the first one on the pace of dinosaur discovery, so just chronicling how many different dinosaur taxa have been named over the past decade, year by year. So that's the bar chart right there, with each of the dinosaurs listed on there. You know, it's low-hanging research fruit, but it's important to try and quantify these things and talk about what is it that drives the pace of dinosaur discovery. I think that's an important thing to discuss. And I also gave a poster about my science outreach here on Twitch. And that was really, really interesting to other paleontologists because jobs in our field are few and far between. Most of us are underemployed, if not unemployed. You're lucky to have a job at all. It usually doesn't pay nearly as well as it should, and employment's tough in this field. It really is. The fact that I've been able to make my living here on Twitch doing science outreach full-time was intensely interesting to a lot of the folks at SVP, and so it was really cool being able to share that and also talk about how to do science outreach on a platform like this, you know? So yeah. Anyway, Gowrox, thank you for the 500 bits. I appreciate it. Yeah, aw, sweetie pie. You want some treats, sweetie? Would you like that? You want some treats? Let's do that. There you go. Getting the last dregs here.
If the situation called for still more protection, he simply grew spears which projected from his body armor.
Good stuff. Big John Bearded, thank you for the follow.
Paleontology is like.
I appreciate the follow. It's good to have you here.
With massive jaws filled with razor-sharp teeth, Tyrannosaurus rex was a terrifying sight.
I have not tuned in for a bit because of my first daughter being born, but wow, look at that viewer count.
Dinosaur! Gigantic dinosaurs attacking our boy!
A dinosaur? What?
These plant eaters or herbivores had as many as 2,000 teeth in their jaws at one time.
Paleo science shake.
Good stuff.
Dinosaur.
Alert after alert here.
Guide to becoming a fossil.
My goodness.
Step 1, die.
Yeah. I might as well turn the alerts back on here. And,
Hello, I'm Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. Let's protect our fossils, because if they're removed, America loses them. Forever.
Yeah.
Third, it may not seem like much.
Thank you for the 500 bits there. Gowrox, thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Holy cow.
I'm looking at the cat and not the images.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But now the dinosaurs
Good
if you're
stuff.
feeling a bit cheated, try blaming the dinosaurs.
And Snail Chaser, how are you doing? Hello, hello. I hope all is well. Thank you for the 100 bits there, Madam 33 and Nessica. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. And thank you, Disco Fountain. Enjoy your game. Very cool. For anybody just joining us, my name is Danny Anduza. I am a dinosaur paleontologist. I just got back from the big Society of Vertebrate Paleontology annual meeting over the weekend. And really for the past week. And, yeah. Now we're talking about fossils. We've got 2 new dinosaurs to discuss for today that just came out recently. Unfortunately, the full papers aren't published yet. They're just like preprints. But we've already got some announcements and stuff, so why don't we get into those? Why don't we talk about them? Our first one is called Emiliosaura, and it is already on the Wikipedia page for our new dinosaurs from 2024. Non-avian dinosaurs, the non-bird ones, are in this section. And Emiliosaura is our first one. You might be asking, why is it Sora and not Saurus? And that's because it's named after somebody female. That's like the feminine suffix there. Saurus is gender neutral or masculine. Sora is feminine. And so I think it's named after a woman. Yeah, it means Amelia's lizard. Pretty cool stuff. Let's see if I've got that. Shoot, let's get rid of some of these tabs, huh? Emiliosaura. We've only got one press release so far on SciNews.com, but we'll take a look. And Suavorio says, what a cool day to be named Amelia. Agreed. Yeah. Paleontologists have identified a species of medium-sized iguanodontian ornithopod dinosaur from 2 specimens found in northwestern Patagonia, Argentina. It's interesting that they say iguanodontian there, because I think that's kind of disputed at this point. Is this critter actually... Like, are Raptidontians actually iguanodontians? The phylogeny, the interrelatedness of these beaky plant-eating dinosaurs is kind of in flux right now. With new discoveries, it's changing. Which ones we think are more closely related to which other ones. So, yeah. You haven't been to the Tyrrell Museum in over a decade? You should totally go, Scythrin. I've never actually been to the Tyrrell. But that's one of the world's great dinosaur museums. You should take some time and go. Holy cow. Tell them Danny Anduza sent you. Some of those folks know me. But yeah. And it's interesting that they're reusing this image of Iani. Back in 2023, I was presenting research at a conference in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I heard about this critter like the day before it was published, I think. Iani Smithii. And this team reused that image for their press release, I guess. Because apparently Emiliosauri would have looked pretty similar to this. But yeah, it's a kind of a smallish, beaky, plant-eating dinosaur. It's got long, leggy hind legs. Yeah. Anyway, Emiliosaura alessandrii. Is the genus and species both named after the same person? That'd be super cool. Lived in what is now Patagonia during the Valanginian stage of the early Cretaceous, some 138 million years ago. Let me show you what that means. Here's our international chronostratigraphic chart. This is history of the Earth right here. We've got age in millions of years for each of these, so going back in time. 66 million years ago is when that asteroid hit. That was the end of the age of dinosaurs. So below this point, you've got non-bird dinosaurs. Up until when they first evolved, probably about here, probably like the Ladinian stage of the late Middle Triassic. Anywho, our dinosaur is from the Valanginian, so the early Cretaceous of South America. So yeah, between 139 and 132 million years ago. Knowing early Cretaceous dinosaurs is critical for getting insights into the evolution of these clades. Clades are evolutionary groups that are characteristic of younger Cretaceous faunas, said first author Rodolfo Correa and his colleagues from Argentina, Canada, and Europe. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier in today's stream with our new iguanodontian dinosaur. It's also super important for the same reasons. Dinosaur diversity around the Jurassic-Cretaceous boundary represents a unique chapter characterized by the establishment of several major lineages. So some other dinosaur groups went extinct just prior to this, and then you've got these new groups, or sometimes old groups, that flourish after this. There's a bunch of ecological niches that open up at this time, and they really take advantage of that. And they spread and diversify and do all kinds of cool evolutionary things. However, our knowledge of dinosaur diversity during the earliest part of the Cretaceous is poor, especially in South America. Our new dinosaur, Emiliosauria alessandrii, belongs to the Rhabdodontomorpha, a group of early iguanodontian dinosaurs within the clade Ornithopoda. This dinosaur group consists of small to large plant eaters from Europe and Gondwana. Gondwana is the southern supercontinent. So that's South America, Africa, Australia, Antarctica, and Madagascar and India all smushed together. That formed a Gondwana supercontinent. Up north, you've got North America, Asia, and Europe smushed together. That formed Laurasia. So as Pangaea, the big supercontinent, breaks up, it breaks up into Laurasia in the north, Gondwana in the south. And then those supercontinents break apart into the continents we have today. Does that make sense? But yeah. And Axeman says, so the more we learn about animals from this time period, the more clues we might get about what happened to cause the changes in the time. Bingo. Yes. And Hybrid Robotics, thank you for tossing in some bits. I appreciate that. Thank you. You stick around long enough, you might get a gift sub. Who knows? And Crimson Carnotaurus says that ornithopod has been to the gym. How much do you think he lifts? Well, it's not a very big animal, so probably less than you'd picture. This is gonna be like the size of a large dog, I think. You know? So how much can a muscular dog lift? You know? Like, yeah, how much do you think this dog could lift, for instance? This is a whippet named Wendy who had like a bizarre disorder where she had double muscles. I don't think it's actually stacked like double muscles, but her muscles were just double the size. Yeah. She's brolic. Anyway, they did make Emiliosauria, or I guess this is Eoni right here. Eoni Smithi. They did make it look fairly muscular. Anyway. And thank you, Flower Water, for gifting Hybrid Robotics. See? What did I tell you? Good stuff. Good stuff. That's excellent. Anyway.
Every bone that we find tells us something about how the world was 80 million years ago.
Bacon and cheese, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Where were we? This Emiliosauria alessandrii represents the first rhabdodontomorph record from South America and is currently the oldest and most primitive member of the clade, the paleontologist said. I wonder if they originated in Gondwana then. That's really interesting. So, rhabdodontomorphs, you know, they're beaky plant-eating dinosaurs like this. Fairly nondescript, you know. They're not the most flashy of dinosaurs. You know, this is just your solid work-a-day, you know, lunch pail herbivorous dinosaur. You know, they come in every day, they chew up some plants, and they exist in their ecosystem, you know? No real fuss, not real flashy evolutionary players, you know? They're just there to survive, do their job, you know? Like my youngest would say, they look like food, Dr. Javasaurus. I don't know about that. But yeah. These guys are cool. There's, just to give you a sense for what these animals are like. Prehistoric planet. Here we go. Yeah, here, take a look at this. This is from Europe, from later in the Cretaceous.
Of a tropical storm, debris is drifting downstream.
This is from Prehistoric Planet. Excellent series.
And amongst the wreckage, rafts of vegetation ripped from the land. For a weary pterosaur, this one may be a welcome place to rest. But it's far from safe.
Uh-oh. Watch out, there's a mosasaur. Okay.
A huge mosasaur, a deadly underwater hunter, is looking for...
That is not a dinosaur there. Mosasaurs are a kind of ancient marine lizard. So it's related to like monitor lizards, varanids, like the Komodo dragon. We think though it's maybe the closest living relatives of these guys.
A huge mosasaur.
But this is a kind of lizard, not a dinosaur. I want to make that very clear.
An easy meal.
And there's Zalmoxes, one of our rhabdodont dinosaurs. So our new dinosaur is a member of this same family. Very similar, probably.
Staying here is too risky. He needs a larger raft, and quickly. There's little choice but to swim for it.
Go, go, go! There's a giant carnivorous lizard swimming after you. Swim fast, buddy. So this is very similar to our new dinosaur. That's why I'm showing you this clip.
He is not the first here. Another castaway. A female. Their raft is drifting out to sea.
It is kind of a question, how do these guys get from continent to continent?
Castaways on rafts like these are washed up.
And this is one hypothesis, that sometimes during big storms you get chunks of vegetation like this that form rafts, and then they drift out.
This pair could become pioneers.
Oh. They like each other. If you're going to be alone on a raft for a long time,
becomes a new species.
And you better like your raft mate there.
Unlike anything seen before.
Cool stuff. That's a rhabdodontian dinosaur, like our new guy, Ameliasaura. I should say new gal, because it's feminine suffix on the name. But we had a good question. What's the difference between a lizard and a dinosaur? And oh boy, is there a huge difference. Let me introduce all these folks to the wonderful concept of phylogeny. So as scientists, the way that we classify living things is not based on what they look like, it's not based on their overall vibe, it's not based on how we feel about them or whatever. When we're classifying living things, like for instance, when we say that lizards are not dinosaurs or dinosaurs are not lizards, that just doesn't mean that they look different or whatever. They have different ancestries. They evolved from different ancestors. So the way that we classify living things is based on what they evolved from, based on what they're literally related to. And when we say that creatures are related to one another, we mean that they share a common ancestor. In the same way that you're related to your cousins, for instance, if you have cousins. You and your cousins share at least one of the same grandparents, right? You come from the same ancestor. That's why you're related, and that's why you share DNA, is because you've inherited that DNA from your ancestor, your grandparents in this case. Living things are the same. So we can think of living things as belonging to this grand tree of life. all living things, living and extinct, on our planet, we think all evolved from the same ancestor close to 4 billion years ago. Thank you, Bang Hero KT, for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. So all life really is one, like in an actual scientific sense. We think that all life on Earth evolved from a single organism. Probably would have looked a lot like a bacterium. Lived close to 4 billion years ago. And then from that, you get all of these branches that came off. Let's look up us, human beings, on this tree. We are right over here. There we go. Within mammals, within primates, human beings. It's not really a picture of one of us in our natural habitat, but that's okay. We're related to bonobos and chimpanzees, a little bit more distantly to the gorillas, and then more distantly orangutans, and then other apes more distantly than that. And you can keep going out further and further and further through the primates, through the euarchontans, through the euarchontoglires, the boroeutherians, placental mammals, therian mammals, then mammals, and then amniotes. So we are related to every other living thing on Earth, from chimpanzees to opossums to turtles to lettuce to bacteria. All living things evolved from a common ancestor about 4 billion years ago, and it's just been a story of splitting and evolving ever since. It's really cool. So that brings us to
In this program, all those questions will be answered.
Omniacid, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. That brings us to this. So, what is a dinosaur and what isn't? This is a really handy kind of infographic for that. And this is a kind of simplified evolutionary family tree. So, lizards are down here. You got your lizards right there, and there's a bunch of different kinds, including those mosasaurs, like from the video. An ocean-going marine lizard trying to eat the Rhabdodontian dinosaur. That's a kind of lizard. Mosasaurs are a kind of lizard. So are snakes. Snakes evolved from earlier lizards that lost their legs. Dinosaurs are up here. So, in order to be a dinosaur, there's one requirement. And so you have to have evolved from that first dinosaur ancestor. If you did, then you're a dinosaur, by definition. That's why birds are dinosaurs. Because birds evolved from earlier dinosaurs that go back to that first dinosaur there. This is why crocodiles are not dinosaurs, because they didn't evolve from that dinosaur ancestor. Crocodiles are kind of like distant cousins of the dinosaurs. Pterosaurs, the flying reptiles, pterodactyls to the general public, they're also not dinosaurs, but they're close. They're very closely related to that first dinosaur ancestor. But since they didn't evolve from that guy, then they're not dinosaurs. Does that make sense? This is true for all living things. Like, you know, in order to be a crocodilian, you have to have evolved from that first crocodilian ancestor. In order to be a mammal, you have to have evolved from that first mammal ancestor. This is how we classify all living things. It's called phylogeny. And we only really started to understand this in like the mid-19th century. After old Chucky D, Charles Darwin helped kind of discover this idea of evolution. And there were some other scientists who discovered it at the same time. People like Alfred Russel Wallace. And if they hadn't been around, somebody else would have discovered it later. Because this is how the world works. This is how living things change over time. Lineages split and give rise to new species, and it's incredibly interesting stuff. If you don't take anything else away from this broadcast, please remember this. That study of evolution helps us understand where we came from, how everything alive around us came to be.
Look, you don't
and
have
these
time
are
to
not
put dinosaurs in your dinosaur movie.
Wordling Prime, thank you for the follow. These are not like unknowable mysteries. This stuff is very much knowable. We can discover where these different things came from by studying their DNA, by studying the fossil record, by studying the anatomy of living creatures. We can start to piece together these evolutionary relationships until you get this broad and beautiful tree of life like this. And it's It's wonderful. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to know. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. Oh yeah, very cool stuff. Yeah. And life finds a way. It's true, randomness. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. And where do the pigs sit, says Nessica. So pigs are fairly close to us. They are placental mammals. Suidae, or genus Sus, is down here. So they're artiodactyl mammals. So pigs are right there. There's about 9 species within that genus. Genus Sus. Might seem a little suspicious, but I promise it's legit. To jump from them to us, it's not that far.
He's called Brontosaurus.
Thank you, more dragons, for the follow. I appreciate that. Welcome.
70 feet long.
It's good to have you here.
The scales at a substantial 35 tons.
So yeah. Okay, from pigs to humans, Homo sapiens. This is really cool because it kind of shows our last common ancestor about 85 million years ago. The ancestor of all the Boroeutherian mammals is both the ancestor of the pig and the ancestor of us. So this would have been during the Cretaceous, when dinosaurs were still running around doing their thing. You have the ancestor of pigs and us. The same critter. We both come from the same ancestor right there. So in the grand scheme of things, we're pretty close to pigs, all told. Which is one of the reasons why pigs are good donor organisms for, like, you know, organs. People might need that, and certain organs in pigs are about the same size as organs in us. I think it's things like kidneys. So yeah. It's interesting stuff. Anywho. And do sheep come from that too? Yeah, so sheep are pretty close to pigs. So we can go from pig to sheep. Sheep are also artiodactyls. Genus Ovis. And so, yeah, the common ancestor between these guys is only 54 million years ago. So, yeah. Sheep and pigs are both what we call cloven-hoofed mammals, artiodactyls. So they've got 2 toes on each foot, 2 fingers on each hand. Yeah. Whales. It's interesting. Whales are actually more closely related to sheep than pigs are. Whales and sheep are closer to each other than either of them is to pigs, which is kind of wild. Common ancestor between sheep and whales is only 49 million years ago. So yeah. Again, we wouldn't know this stuff if it weren't for the fossils. Well, we would have eventually figured it out through DNA, but the fossils were really a great clue right there at the beginning. Yeah, here's an animation that, you know, it's a nice, very simplified view of whale evolution. It's a lot more complicated than this, but this is just, like, in its most simplified form, basically. You get these early hoofed mammals that take to the water like that. Smells like whale evolution. So as they become better and better adapted to life in the water, they end up evolving a lot of these traits that make modern whales successful. Yeah. And Dousty Pants says, why are the evolutionary branches so distinct from creature to creature? I don't know if I understand your question. Could you rephrase that? What do you mean distinct? I'm not sure I understand. Yeah. And Henny says, don't they have vestigial legs? A lot of whales do, yeah. So they've got they've got like vestigial hip bones and stuff that are a remnant from when these critters.
I do call myself an expert in dinosaur studies.
All of a sudden, thank you for the 6 months of support. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. At tier 2 there, by the way. Thank you for keeping me here on the air. Appreciate you. Here, yeah, so a lot of whales have still got vestigial hip bones or even hind limb bones just kind of floating there in their skeleton. That's a holdover from when their ancestors had hind limbs. It's pretty cool to think about. So the next time you're at a museum and you see like a whale skeleton mounted there, look and see if they included the pelvic bones. Because they usually do. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. And then occasionally there will be a whale that's born with vestigial legs. Here we go. Yeah, so there's like a dolphin where it's got vestigial legs there. It's what we call an atavistic trait. Yeah, so it happens once in a blue moon. But yeah. Anywho. Comet Crisis.
This drawer contains almost all of the North
That's
American
Phil Curry.
identified specimens of Troodon.
He was there at the meeting this weekend. It's cool to see him in person again.
What you doing?
But yeah. And let's see. Dousty Pants says, like the missing link idea? I'm still not sure I understand your question. Yeah. Nessica says, do you ever look into strange creatures found in the dark depths of the ocean?
You don't need to salute the paleontologist.
Oh, but you can. Big Blue Mage, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. No, so I work on dinosaurs for the most part. Occasionally I'll work on other kinds of fossil vertebrate, but never deep sea critters. There were no dinosaurs that lived in the deep sea. There really aren't very many ocean dinosaurs at all. Here's another thing that I should show to the new folks. All of these critters that you see right here, be they ichthyosaurs, mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, nothosaurs, marine crocodiles, thalattosaurs, agliosaurs, not a single one of these creatures, is a dinosaur. Not a single one. These are all marine reptiles from various clades, various evolutionary groups. So a lot of these animals are not closely related to each other, but not a single one of them is a dinosaur. So going back to our phylogeny right here, mosasaurs, like this guy and this guy, both of them are lizards. They're part of the lizard group. Ichthyosaurs are part of another group. It's still kind of a mystery where they fit on, but we know for sure they're not dinosaurs because they evolved before the first dinosaurs did. Turtles are not dinosaurs. Plesiosaurs are not dinosaurs, either long-necked or short-necked plesiosaurs. None of these guys are dinosaurs. The only true marine dinosaurs from the Mesozoic are critters like this. Hesperornis is an ocean dinosaur, and it's a kind of bird. Birds are dinosaurs. These guys lived in the ocean at the time. They're these enormous, like 6 foot long, almost 2 meter long flightless birds that spent maybe their entire lives in the ocean. They may have only come up onto land to lay their eggs. We're not totally sure. But they are a kind of bird, and birds, as we talked about, are dinosaurs. So none of these is an ocean dinosaur, but this is an ocean dinosaur. So, Elasmosaurus, right here. Not an ocean dinosaur, but this is an ocean dinosaur. At least penguins spend a lot of time in the water. This is a dinosaur. And these are dinosaurs. And these are dinosaurs. None of these are dinosaurs. That makes sense? Yeah. Pretty cool, right? But yeah. Oh, and Fall Machine makes a good point. Yeah, those like those assorted plastic dinosaurs packs that you'll see in oftentimes they try and sneak in critters that are not dinosaurs. So like this right here. 4 assorted dinosaurs per bag. Sometimes they're ripping you off. They'll throw a pterosaur in there. It looks like that's supposed to be a pteranodon. Pterodactyl, pteranodon. Not a dinosaur. Likewise. Find some more of these. There's some other imposters in here. Yeah, here. That one down there, a pliosaur, not a dinosaur. It's a short-necked plesiosaur. But yeah, don't be fooled. I made a tink-tonk about this a while ago. Here, take a look. I am just getting ready to carve up this pumpkin. I thought everybody's going to be expecting me to do a dinosaur. So I'm going to buck expectations a little bit and do something that is distinctly not a dinosaur and make it be about not being a dinosaur. Who can tell me what that is? Dimetrodon, there you go. Yeah, Dimetrodon. Yeah, Dimetrodon is not a dinosaur. It's more closely related to you and me than it is to any dinosaur, which is pretty cool to think about. Yeah. These are very, very charismatic animals. You see them in all kinds of assorted plastic dinosaurs boxes and stuff. But they're not dinosaurs. These predate the dinosaurs by probably a solid 60 million years. Yeah, they're basically weird proto-mammals. Get started with pumpkin carving. First thing that I've got to do for this is carve out the top. Unfortunately, I don't have any anesthetic for our pumpkin friend here. It's time for your lobotomy. There we go. Look at that. I didn't get a chance to carve a pumpkin this year. I was too busy getting ready for SVP. Hopefully next year. See it in a movie or a book or something like that, and you can say, hey, that's not a dinosaur. That's a Dimetrodon. So this animal's pretty close to our ancestry. Very much not a dinosaur. So much better now. Ha! Very nice. Very nice. Our not a dinosaur, Dimetrodon. Let me turn off all the lights. I hand drew that, Subturks, yeah. Yes. Check that out. Oh, man. That is pretty cool. I like that a lot. I'm pretty happy with this. And Hanaconda Aquaponics. Where might you live if you've got ichthyosaurs and cave bears? I'm gonna guess either somewhere in Europe, maybe Germany, or maybe Nevada here in the US. Yeah, that's my guess. But yeah. And this is correct, addicted to Captain Games. Megalodon didn't live in the Cretaceous, though. Megalodon was way after that. Megalodon's from the Age of Mammals, and pretty late in the Age of Mammals. Yeah. Oh, Europe. Okay, cool, Hanaconda. Nice. But yeah, neither sharks nor plesiosaurs are dinosaurs. That's correct. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Where were we? Oh yeah, let's get back to our Rhabdodontian dinosaurs. So, yeah, These little guys are rhabdodontians, just like our new dinosaur, Ameliasaura.
Establish a new population, which eventually becomes a new species. Unlike anything seen before.
And they didn't actually specify genus or species for the mosasaur here. Addicted. Sorry. Yeah. So our new critter, Ameliasaura, is a rhabdodontian. The first rhabdodontian from South America, and is currently the oldest and most primitive member of the entire clade. A clade is an evolutionary group where all of the members spring from the same ancestor. This new species forms part of a diverse Cretaceous, early Cretaceous Valanginian dinosaur assemblage, which also includes diplodocid and dicraeosaurid sauropods and carcharodontosaurid theropods. Ameliasaura alessandrii is represented by 2 fossilized specimens collected from different sites and stratigraphical levels of the Mulichinco Formation. The holotype specimen includes the coracoid, shoulder girdle bone, proximal end of a scapula, so that's the near end of the shoulder blade, a humerus, upper arm bone, and a complete right hind limb, whereas the paratype specimen preserves vertebral elements, vertebrae, hemal arches, an incomplete pelvis, so part of the hips, and a nearly complete hind limb, as the researchers said. The new species has anteroposteriorly elongate ilium, so the top bone in the hips is kind of stretched out front to back, with a sigmoidal dorsal border, so kind of S-shaped on top, and a broad brevis shelf. So that's like a projection off of the ilium. A femur shaft with an extensive proximally positioned fourth trochanter. Interesting. Fourth trochanter is a big bump in the middle of the thigh bone that some of the tail and leg muscles attach to. And Zombies in Drago, thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. And a second pedal digit with a short, robust, blunt ungule phalanx similar to those in Ankylopalexia ornithopods. Interesting. Findings were published this week in the journal Cretaceous Research, and that is not totally true. I think there's a preprint that was published, but not the official, actual paper yet. Yeah, here's that paper. First Valanginian ornithopod from Patagonia. Cool stuff. Oh, and I've worked with some of these people before. I didn't realize Mattia was an author. Mattia Baiano was on my crew in 2011 when we were digging up Yoshi's trike together in the Hell Creek Formation of Montana. It's the Triceratops with the longest horns anybody's ever found. It's a world record. And Phil Curry is an author too. Nice. Pretty neat. Yeah. I believe I actually have a journal preprint that was sent to me by Rhacodactylus here, so let me find that. There we go. Excellent. There it is there. So this is just a pre-proof. So it's not formatted yet. It's just the text. I don't think they really have figures in it, but there's the original paper. The Journal of Cretaceous Research is kind of notorious for this, where like they don't publish the full paper right away. So all we've got is a pre-proof here. Oh, but we do have figures. So that's good at least. Thank you, Thinky Payne, for the follow. Appreciate it. But we've got the toes of this animal. Hind foot right there. 2 of them. Very nice. 3 of them, actually. And then we've got some hind limb elements. Tibia and fibula. More tib fib right there, and a femur. And yeah, man, that fourth trochanter. That bump on the midline of the femur. The midshaft is... That's really weird looking. Interesting. Nice. And then we've got coracoid, scapula, and humerus. Looks... Is that a humerus? No, that's a scapula, right? No. No, it is a humerus. It's a really weird looking one. And we got the hips right here, too. So anyway, it's cool to actually see the fossils, you know? And we've got a time chart. So we've got one specimen from up here and one specimen from down there. Interesting. They're both being named as the same critter. I'm wondering how much evolution takes place between down here and up there, if they are the same lineage. But cool, it's from near Las Lajas in Argentina. And then here's actually showing you how much we have of the skeleton from each of these individuals. Yeah, very nice. Very nice indeed. Yeah, it looks like the same one twice, actually. Why did they do that? Anyway, cool stuff. So welcome to the world, Emiliosaura. Another new dinosaur from this year. How many have we got so far in 2024? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. 42 new dinosaur genera and species described in the year 2024 so far. How many weeks are we into 2024? We are 45 weeks in so far. So for a while, it was one dinosaur per week on average for 2024. We've fallen a little bit behind. We're 45 weeks into the year, 42 dinosaurs so far. So we're still doing pretty well, I think. You know? So yeah, 42 new dinosaurs. The year is not over yet. I have heard tell that we've got multiple new dinosaurs that will be published before the end of the year. Or early next year. We've got a new Brachylophosaur, a Waweep, a new Heterodontosaur from Petrified Forest, new Rabdodontian, which was previously a genus of Rabdodon, should be coming out soon, a new Ankylosaur from Lufeng in China, a new giant theropod from the Triassic of Germany, and a new Spinosaurid, and at least one new Therizinosaur and one other new Oviraptorosaur too. So we are, we've got quite a few new dinosaurs to look forward to. Don't we, Sweetie Pie? Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, excellent. Pretty exciting stuff. Yeah. Oh, and Lamp, how are you doing? The Sweetie Pie emotes. How you doing, Sweetie Pie? How are you doing? I might brush you for a little bit before we do our other new dinosaur. We've got a new Oviraptorosaur from China. There we go. Man, nobody brushed you while I was gone at SVP, huh? Look at all that fur. My goodness. Yeah. You want some more treats? Is that what this is about? Yeah? Yeah? I think we can make that happen. There we go. Oh, this might be it. That's almost all of them. We've got like one batch left. That's it, sweetie. Better enjoy them. Good stuff. Addicted said, I have a question about long neck theropods. Oh, you're thinking about sauropods, Addicted to Captain Games, because all theropods walked on their hind legs. Yeah. Was it possible for them to stand on their hind legs to reach higher vegetation? For some of them, it would have been easier than for others. So, for the diplodicoid sauropods, for these guys, it would have been easier than, say, brachiosaurs. Just because they've got this really long tail that would have acted like a counterbalance and made it easier for them to rear up. So I can show you an example. I've got a Diplodocus model up here that it's recently got. Here. And it's actually kind of tricky to get it to not rear up. Like, it just naturally wants to go back on its hind legs, just based on how it's weighted. This animal's got a profoundly long tail, so you put the hind legs together like that, and then it only takes a little bit of a push.
But the paleontologist field isn't narrow to what we understand. On the contrary, we stretch our understanding to try and take in the universe.
And Science Forest, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I'll show you a cool thing too. So these animals are mostly walking around, we think, with their neck held out horizontally like this. And that orientation, you know, it's got more weight kind of on the front end. Makes it more difficult to rear up, but you move the neck up like this and you're changing your center of gravity. So it makes it even easier to tilt back like that. So, yeah, does that make sense? It's just easy as pie. Tilt up like that if you put your neck up too. It changes your center of gravity. Yeah. So we do think that these guys were probably capable of rearing up on their hind legs. Some of them may have done that regularly. Like, it may have been, you know, tons of times every day they would do that. They do seem to be built for it. Their hind legs are bigger and bulkier than their forelegs, and it seems like their center of gravity is just kind of forward of their hips. So it would have been pretty easy for them to rear up like that. I think Bakker has a figure in one of his books about this. There we go. Yeah, classic book, The Dinosaur Heresies. One of those books that, love it or hate it, it has really gotten a lot of people interested in dinosaurs throughout the 80s and 90s. And regardless of how you feel about Bob Bakker's work, he definitely helped stoke public interest in dinosaurs. And that is invaluable. He definitely deserves praise for that.
Big Daddy, I dig your vibrations.
Yeah, here we go. So he's got a nice figure in here with showing these different Morrison formation sauropods rearing up on their hind legs and stuff, and kind of showing browsing height for them. Yeah, he doesn't have Camarasaurus rearing up, which actually honestly kind of makes sense. But yeah. Yeah. And then at the beginning of the book too, he's got a lovely illustration of, oh yeah, here's an apatosaur rearing up right there. Bakker loved illustrating these guys doing this. Yeah, there's two diplodocid sauropods having a fight like that. Yeah. Those sauropods probably could. Critters like Diplodocus right here. So long it can't even fit on the screen. But other ones like Brachiosaurus. These guys are built in a different way, where their arms are much longer than their legs. Their center of gravity would be much further forward. They probably could not rear up on their hind legs nearly as easily, if at all. We don't know if these guys could even do that at all. And depending on how you reconstruct them, this one is like, it's a beautiful reconstruction, but I don't know if the trunk should really be elevated to that angle like that. That's pretty dramatic. So these guys certainly didn't rear up on their hind legs as often. Maybe they didn't do it at all, except maybe to breed. Because you'd think they probably would have had to do that in order to breed, but yeah. Anyway. Good stuff. Yeah. Brachiosaurus is such a cool dinosaur. And I was able to visit with a Brachiosaurus skeleton. At the beginning of September. Find you a clip. There we go.
Just right here, we've got...
This is at Dinoland, USA, at Disney World.
So this, ladies and gentlemen and NBs, is Brachiosaurus altithorax. This is the original Brachiosaurus. So Elmer Riggs helped dig this thing up sometime around the turn of the century for the Field Museum in Chicago.
Yep.
And there are not very many replicas of this throughout the world. You could see one, well, you used to be able to see it outside in Chicago, but they've since dismantled it because of weather damage. You can see one in the airport at O'Hare.
Yeah.
Got another Brachiosaurus there. This is the only...
That one is really cool. Let me find you an image. It's at the United Terminal at O'Hare International Airport in Chicago, Illinois. I've taken some photos with this over the years. It's pretty cool, you know. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. And yeah, at the airport, absolutely, we'll go. I wonder if... Can we find a video about that?
Maybe there's even dinosaurs.
Thank you, Nonsense Ninja, for the follow. Appreciate it. There we go. Pretty awesome. So this is a cast of the original Brachiosaurus skeleton that Elmer Riggs dug up around the turn of the century, around 1900. And Uncle Gar says, imagine how much a day they would have to eat. A lot. But those teeth right there are one of the keys to their success. So Brachiosaurus and close relatives like the Merosaurus right here, another macronarian sauropod. One of the keys to their success. Version of heaven. Thank you, Lilm Stanky Puss. Appreciate the follow. Welcome, welcome. One of the keys to their success is that these guys didn't chew their food. They didn't have time for that. They've got to eat so much in a day to survive that they're just chomping vegetation with those teeth. They're using their teeth to bite it off of trees and shrubs and stuff, and then just gulping it down. And so all that food goes down the neck and into this massive gut where it would get fermented. They must have had some crazy gut bacteria in there. But, yeah. And then, yeah. So unlike a cow that spends most of the day chewing, it's very time-consuming, these guys would be able to just swallow a ton of vegetation very quickly. Probably leaves and twigs and sticks and branches and all. Use those teeth just for cropping. Just for, like, you know, taking bites, basically, but not for chewing. There's an old idea that they swallowed stones that would roll around in their guts and then help digest everything, but that's it's not very well supported. So yeah. Anyway. Cool stuff. Brachiosaurus, really interesting animal.
Here's something stranger than science fiction. Prehistoric fact.
And Pharaoh, thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. So the skeleton that Elmer Riggs found back at the beginning of the 20th century was not this complete. There are other pieces that were kind of filled in based on another brachiosaur found in Tanzania in East Africa. That one used to be called Brachiosaurus, but it's since been renamed Giraffatitan. And so a lot of the blanks got filled in by that. So that brachiosaur picture that we were just looking at. This one right here is a really nice indicator. Like, all the parts in white are the parts that we actually have. It's not very much. And that's filled in from all of these different specimens right here. So, yeah. When Elmer Riggs first found this thing, he almost didn't collect it. Oh, come on. There we go. This was the humerus that he found, the upper arm bone. He thought it was a femur at first, a thigh bone, because the thigh bone is always the biggest bone in a dinosaur, almost always. And he's like, yeah, look at this femur, it's all distorted and it looks all strange. He's like, I'm not even gonna bother collecting that. Excuse me, my nose is getting all stuffy. So he almost didn't dig it up, but then he went back and decided to, and holy cow, it was the biggest dinosaur then yet found. And I think the humerus is actually bigger than the femur in Brachiosaurus, or at least it rivals it in size. The femur might still be slightly bigger. But, yeah, what a cool animal. So that doesn't look like very much, but, here. Giraffatitan was much more complete. And that's the one that's on display in Berlin at the Natural History Museum. It is the largest actual fossil bone dinosaur skeleton mounted on display in the entire world. They were crazy to actually mount the real bones here. It's nuts. Like, you probably wouldn't do that nowadays. It's just too expensive, and it puts the bones in too much risk. You would want to just make replicas of each of the bones and then mount that. It could be much more lightweight, not as delicate. But here they actually mounted the real bone, which again, is nuts. It's cool, but I don't think you'd do this kind of thing today. Yeah. Slavoria says, I can't fathom that size at all. These are not even the biggest dinosaurs. Take a look at this. This is an interactive video. So you can use your cursor and drag it around like this. Look at that.
To the world-renowned museum.
Playback speed. Custom. No, playback speed. Normal, please.
Naturkunde. Welcome to the world-renowned Museum für Naturkunde in Berlin. You're now standing in the dinosaur hall. Look around. In Jurassic times, these all shared the same ecosystem. The sauropods evolved necks of varying lengths
Give you a link
so that
for
they
this.
could feed on vegetation at different heights. The very top branches were only accessible to one of the tallest dinosaurs that ever lived.
Yeah, the brachiosaurs like Giraffe Titan.
It would have dwarfed even the largest animals that live on land today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, I love this. Pretty
To maintain
cool.
its huge size, it ate all day, every day, always on the lookout for its next meal.
Just trying to eat the banner there. But yeah, I know that, Claire Burr. Yeah, yeah.
Over time, Giraffe Titan disappeared from the Jurassic landscape.
Very cool stuff. Again, I put the link in the chat for you. Blue Goose, how are you doing? Hello, hello. And yeah, Tom Holtz did win the Megalosaurus Jaw 3D print. I was there at the auction. I talked to him about it. Yeah, but there's an image in the Discord. Let's take a look at that. She took a picture with it. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I feel bad I didn't have time to paint it beforehand, but I donated that jaw to the, this is a 3D print of the original Megalosaurus jaw, and I 3D printed that to the SVP fundraiser auction, and Thomas Holtz paid a good chunk of change for it. That's cool that he was that excited about it to post a picture. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I've seen one right here. This is my copy that I painted. It's more of a touch-up. But, yeah. Yeah, pretty cool. This is the first dinosaur to ever be named, Megalosaurus, and that was 200 years ago. 1824. So, pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, Tom Holtz is a really well-known dinosaur paleontologist, and he was so excited to get this, and that makes me smile. Good stuff. Oh, you're an archaeologist, Blue Goose. Very cool. Neat stuff. Well, you're still in the right place. Welcome, welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Neat stuff. Well, before I forget, we've got one more dinosaur to talk about today. Brand new one. And this one is so new that it's... I don't even think there's any press for it yet. But let me check. No. Shoot. Well, I am lucky that Rakadactylus sent me a PDF of this. There we go. Yeah. Logan King is a paleontologist that I met for the first time at SVP. I've heard a lot about him. He's kind of been a mentor to Ken on my field crew, and it was really cool meeting him. Logan's a great guy. And his team named this new Oviraptorosaur from Inner Mongolia, China, from the Gobi Desert, presumably. Would have looked something like this. Maybe like Conchoraptor. So a feathery, very bird-like dinosaur with a toothless beak. Long feathers on its arms like this. This is that same kind of dinosaur. Pretty cool. Yeah, and I can show you a prehistoric planet clip of Corythoraptor. There we go. This is from the same family of dinosaurs.
Abundant fall of fruit.
They look like birds, right?
Gatherings can attract unwelcome attention. Geniosaurus, the top predator in these Asiatic forests. This is a female, over 30 feet long.
So she's a tyrannosaur.
If she is to catch a Corythoraptor,
I'm gonna eat some of these guys.
she'll have to get close.
When you say our cassowaries, what do you mean, Amiga? Do you have cassowaries?
But her prey have still not noticed her.
Aussies, gotcha. Yeah, cassowaries are one of my favorite critters. And Litton Gamer, hello. Thank you for using those bits. It's been a long 2 years, but it's nice to finally catch one of your streams again. Litton Gamer, welcome back to Paleontologizing. It is lovely to have you here. Phenomenal. I hope you've been doing well. I just got back from SVP, the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting, 2 days ago. A little worse for wear. I got science conference illness. I think I got a bit of a cold, so I'm got a sore throat. But we got a huge raid earlier, and we're talking about some new dinosaurs. I'm playing this clip to introduce people to Oviraptorosaurs. There's a Tyrannosaur stalking his Corythoraptor.
Over 30 feet long. If she...
Yeah. So our new dinosaur is kind of similar to these guys. It's smaller, doesn't have as big a crest, presumably.
There's not much cover here. But her prey have still not noticed her.
Very bird-like.
She's failed. But then most hunts throughout the history of life fail most of the time.
Anyway, those blue guys are Corythoraptor, which is a kind of Oviraptorosaur. Our new dinosaur that we're talking about today is a relative. It's a member of the same group. And it is called Huanyanglong. I don't speak Chinese, so I hope I'm not butchering that too badly, but Huanyanglong. The name means lovebird dragon, and it was just published. This one is thought to have had a much shorter tail and much longer, leggier legs. Almost reminds me of like City Pez or a critter like that. Yeah, related to Ava Mimus. I think the talk that I saw about this was actually this same critter. But here is the paper right here. This is just a pre-proof. Again, the Journal of Cretaceous Research tends to do this. But yeah, we've got most of the information there. It's just not formatted in a way that looks pretty. But we should have some figures here, right? Please give me some figures. No figures? Okay. Anyway, yeah. It's known from two partial skeletons, discovered in 2021 in the Miaogo Formation. in the Gobi Desert of Chilantai, Inner Mongolia, China. There were 2 of them found side by side in the same block. So maybe they were friends in life. Or maybe they were enemies. They probably knew each other. These 2 individuals. But yeah, the generic name, Yuan Yang Long, combines Yuan Yang, the Mandarin word for lovebirds, like the mandarin duck, a species symbolic of mating for life, and the Chinese word long, meaning dragon.
TV off.
USMC 3533, thanks for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. The name refers to the 2 discovered individuals that were associated, so I wonder if... Let's copy and paste and see if anybody's produced any art of these guys so far. Before we even have a press release or anything. We've already got people producing images of this animal. I love that. It's cool how much people love dinosaurs, to the point where the paper is, like, not even really published yet. And we've already got people doing beautiful artwork of these animals. And holy cow, Shoop, thank you for those 5 gift subs. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Good stuff. Excellent. Really
Show
appreciate
one
it.
is getting serious with those 5 gift subs.
There's 5 people in the chat who won't have to watch any ads. Oh goodness, my nose is all stuffy. Hang on. This one came out 12 hours ago. Holy cow. I'll be right back. Let me grab a tissue. Goodness, that's better. Conference illness. But yeah, this is lovely. We've already got illustrations of this critter coming out. That makes me really happy. Very, very cool. And here's the link to the Wikipedia page, because that's the single best source of information on this critter, in the sense that it links to the original paper right there. Anyway, good stuff. So yeah, another new dinosaur. Pretty exciting. And we've got a skull from it. Not a totally complete skull, but a skull nonetheless. The skulls of this group of dinosaurs are their reputation for being really weird. I'll show you an example. This is the skull of one of the better-known oviraptorosaurs, City Patty. It might be difficult to tell which end is which, right? Well, this is the front end, this is the back end. There's the foramen magnum the spinal cord goes into. There's the occipital condyle, so the neck is like this. There's the orbit. The eye socket is right here. And then this is the nares, the nostril. We're not sure if the fleshy nostril was up here or further down in life. But yeah, this is a toothless dinosaur. And it's got this pretty serious beak on it. We're still not totally sure why they had a beak like this. There's no idea that these guys ate eggs. That's no longer thought to be true. They're probably mostly herbivorous, but maybe they just kind of ate whatever they wanted. Yeah, this whole group of dinosaurs is pretty interesting and pretty strange, but very bird-like. Oviraptorosauria. We've got a bunch of them. The majority of them that have been named are from Asia, Mongolia and China. There we go. Oviraptorosauria. Although we've got some from North America as well. Mostly from Canada, but a few from Montana and North Dakota and places like that. So, yeah, they're pretty cool, but very, very bird-like animals. To the point where some of them even have a pygostyle. Nomingia is the one that's got that. Yeah. So its tail is super, super short, just like that of modern birds. And the vertebrae at the end are just like little nubbins. And those are an attachment point for a feather fan on the tail, which is pretty darn cool. So, extraordinarily bird-like dinosaurs. Some of them get very, very big. Like the aptly named Gigantoraptor. Take a look at this.
Meet Gigantoraptor.
So this is an animal taller than T-Rex. It's huge. Like, this doesn't really even do it justice, necessarily. Here. There you go. That's how big this animal is. And they maybe even got a little bit bigger. I mean, shoot. It's hard to say. Have we found the biggest individual that ever lived of this taxon? Probably not. But it's a big critter. Enormous. Yeah, just... What's this thing eating? It's probably eating whatever it wants, honestly. Yeah. Oh, they're so cool. We don't know if they had soft tissue structures like this, but a lot of modern birds do. And a lot of modern birds do mating dances like this. We do have evidence that some non-bird dinosaurs also did mating dances. So this isn't too fanciful. Anyway, you get the idea. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. So our new dinosaur is much smaller than that. Yeah. Yuan Yanglong is, it's much smaller. But it goes to show you that the range of sizes within this group of dinosaurs, within the Oviraptorosauria, it's pretty impressive.
At that time, the land of the planet was clumped together.
And Erg67, thank you for the prime. I appreciate
Dinosaurs
that.
soon
Thank you,
occupied
thank
every
you.
corner of that world.
Good stuff. So anyway, if it dabs, I'm leaving. Thank you, Ben. Thankfully, it didn't. Yeah. Anywho, there you go. 2 new dinosaurs. Yuan Yanglong. And let's look at Emiliosaura. Nice reconstruction of that critter here. Kind of typical Rhabdodontiform. Rhabdodontomorph dinosaur. Pretty neat. How many more new dinosaurs will we have before the year is over? We'll see. Adarith, thank you for the follow. Appreciate the follow. Thank you, thank you. Let's look at our calendar for the rest of the week. I didn't have anything planned for tomorrow, but so we will do a stream tomorrow. I'm not sure what on. Velociraptor's 100th anniversary is on Thursday. Let me go ahead and leave. Okay. Let me go ahead and modify that. I'm starting early at, let's say, noon on Thursday, because I've got stuff to do in the evening. We're going to have to end a little bit earlier, so that means we'll start a little bit earlier on Thursday. We'll be talking all about Velociraptor, its initial discovery, why it was initially kind of overlooked as a dinosaur in a lot of ways, and then how it became a dinosaurian superstar. Hint, hint, it was something in the 90s. Well, it was Jurassic Park. We'll talk about the influence of Jurassic Park on popular culture and on people's perception of Velociraptor and all of that on Thursday. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good stream. But in order to make it a good stream, I've got to make sure that I rest up tonight, because I've got sinus stuff going on. I got some sort of a bug at the conference at SVP, and I got to make sure I'm well rested and I'm able to beat this ASAP so I can get back to full power again for streaming tomorrow and Thursday. Well, anyway, with that said, it is time to wrap things up here. So let's put our Archaeopteryx under the credits. And let's find somebody to raid. Thank you to everybody whose names are about to show up in our credits here. Tons of new followers today. Holy cow. Huge thank you to Kit Boga for that incredible raid. I really appreciate it. Holy moly. That was wonderful. And it helps new people find the channel, and that is phenomenal. I really appreciate it. Dousty Pants, thank you for the follow. Good stuff. Casey Snowart is drawing some dinosaurs right now. We're gonna go right into her and watch her have a heart attack. She's a moderator on this channel. She does really, really cool art. She's working on becoming a professional artist and illustrating some children's books. She's doing some dinosaurs today. We're gonna go see what she's up to. Yeah. Excellent. I can't wait to see her reaction. Holy cow. Everybody, thank you. Subscribers, cheerers, gifters, moderators, followers, chatters, question askers, lurkers. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you so much. I'll be streaming again tomorrow. We'll have more fossil news, more Q&A, all kinds of good stuff. And then Thursday is Velociraptor Day. The 100th anniversary of the publication of Velociraptor. Till then, all of you take care of yourselves, and I'm going to rest up and try and get better here. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.